Morning Connection. It is Monday morning again, the 28th day of November 2022, and we're pleased to be joining you live from our best 100 FM studios right here in Kingston, Jamaica. I gotta say an early welcome to the Wayne Hall Show, who says good morning from Atlanta. Good morning to you, Wayne. I'm assuming the show is named after you, and I should hunt down your show. Thank you for listening to us here in Jamaica. Welcome to those Welcome to those who are online and those who have joined us on air. I have to say welcome all over again. You probably barely heard me. My microphone was way off because I was still thinking it's Thursday morning and I was at the Ligani Club with my clip-on mics, feeling so free and easy. So good morning again. Welcome to the Morning Connection. This is your host, Bennett Lawrence. I am joined this morning by none other than the producer himself on camera, one Mr. Lowell Lawrence of a certain notoriety and fame.
Whoa. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I don't know about the notoriety and fame.
That will become clear later. Well, join me in welcoming the Wayne Hall Show from Atlanta. Atlanta is a favorite city of ours.
As a matter of fact, I saw him online. I think we're now friends on Facebook. And I'm pretty sure there are things that we'll be able to do together. So welcome, Wayne. Thank you for joining us. And, we should touch base at some point.
All right. Well, you see what I've been about notoriety and fame? You have friends on Facebook. Good morning to those who have joined us on air. Thank you. As always, we know you have lots of choices how to spend your time in the early morning hours. And those that choose to spend it with us, we know we are blessed by your presence. And we certainly hope that something we say will give you the opportunity to just have a very great and productive day. So much to cover this morning. The first thing is just looking at that young man holding a vuvuzela, touching his head and looking as if somebody died. And I thought, oh God, more bad news.
I feel his pain.
Yes, Germany missed a shot at this Spanish goal. Yes. Eventually, you know the results of that. But we're not going to be speaking about World Cup coming, fresh on air. There are some major things that are happening in the country, and we want to spend some time on it. So let me allow Lowell to do what Pastor would normally do.
We're now missing quite a few people because they are watching World Cup. So you have to bear that in mind.
No, man, our people are listening.
I think the match finishes at what time? 8 o'clock, Lloyd? 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock? Okay.
So
no, they have the radio going and the TV's on. They're multitasking. Our people have the ability.
We hope.
And for those who are on the road, please don't be watching World Cup while you're on the road. It's easier to just listen to us, and then you will get the results coming up. The big issue for me this morning, Lowell, is the state of emergency countdown. We see that the opposition and government side have gone head to head on this issue. It is an important issue in many ways. The first, of course, is that those who believe that a state of emergency is essential to taming the devil that is running the streets, crime and violence, are obviously in a state of great panic that their favorite tool is being put back in the box. Those who believe that it is an abuse of the constitutional rights of many and that it is a fruitless, unproductive tool, of course, they want to see not just a crime plan, but they also want to see the government playing by the rules. Let's just put it that way. And so we want to talk about that this morning.
Yeah, we're coming up on the 6:30 break, but I just want to say that yes, we do need to find a solution to the crime and violence that we're having, but certainly I know that the SOE cannot be a permanent fix, and we've been doing it for quite some time, and it's about time now we start to put some solid plans in place to deal with the crime problem that we're having, and it cannot be a suspension of people's rights and freedoms. And this is something that, the government need to start to spend some more time to look at how we're going to treat with these things. Because if it is that crime and violence is only going to be stemmed whenever we have SOE, and then when it goes, then it goes up again. Then clearly we have a problem that we are not addressing. We're addressing symptoms, but we can
All right,
talk
we
some
got the
more
break
about
signal,
that. Yes.
so I love it telling you that it's time to break. All right, stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Difference you can hear.
Keep listening.
One and one. When there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground. Secure your valuable items. If you wanna put secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker. And before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live up on the banks, live a bank, low line here. If you see blood waters are rising, get out, heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and sliding, get out, heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen. Be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
Half a tree, one and drive, bossy. How you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and then diagnose your problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try calling them, cause trust me.
What a relief.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. And I have company. Well, I didn't tell you what was going on with Pastor Percival. He has been working so hard on his schoolwork. I thought perhaps he was playing truant. He is here, so I'm firing Lowell.
Yeah, well, what can I tell you?
I'm Pastor, the great counselor that he say you can't fire your husband.
Come, pull up
All
a
right,
chair.
so Pastor wasn't feeling so well and sent out a midnight holler. So we said, all right, I know he's been burning the candle from both ends. So perhaps. All right. So we're going to have a...
And sipping tea.
You brought your tea. I have something that might help. You were sneezing and having a horrible time. All right. We'll look after Pastor.
Pastor, you know you're
Healing
allergic
has
to
been
schoolwork.
declared.
You are allergic to schoolwork. You know that.
No.
Okay.
Finished.
Yes, that's true. Only a few more days to go. All right. So there are two things on my mind this morning. I woke up with the same there was a song in my head, and when that happens, and I know I'm no singer, so I'm not being inspired to go write and perform, I know that there's a message, and it was again about holiness, the walk of holiness. And please, I said holiness, not wholeness, which some people tend to think every time I say holiness. I'm speaking about the Prime Minister. The walk of holiness. Last week we spent some time speaking about it and emphasizing that this call to be holy, is not for you to retire from your private business or whatever life you have and move into the temple and take up residence. It is a call for us in our daily walk, in how we do things, to strive for a level of righteous living that brings us closer to the character of God, our Creator, who made us in His image and gave us the capacity to freely choose to be like Him. So it means politicians can be holy, doesn't it, Pastor? Oh, he's still over there. Let me ask Lowell. It means politicians can be holy. Let me just jump over Lowell.
Just move right over my head. You need to come and take the chair. Of course. I mean, when you look in the Bible, I mean, a lot of leaders were quite holy. So
and some were quite unholy.
Our politicians, our leaders, they need to read their Bible and take a page from look at a lot of those kings.
Yeah, if you look at societies that did well for their people, brought prosperity into their economy and peace in their land, you will see that all of them had one thing in common: they feared God, they listened to the prophet, and they sought to walk in the footsteps of the good kings, the good leaders who had a similar reverence for the ways of God and for the plan of God for His people. So holiness is not a call to priesthood. It is a call to righteous living. And you can move from one level to another level because it is a work in progress for all of us. That being said, when you look at what is happening with the state of emergency, the need for it, the failure in Parliament to come to an agreement whether it should be extended or not, there's an issue that is now on the table, and I just want to address it. It's a legal issue. Can the Prime Minister declare, well, not the Prime Minister, because strictly speaking, it is the Governor General who makes the proclamation. Can we have a fresh proclamation for a new state of emergency starting immediately? In fact, starting right after the one currently underway ends, meaning by the time the police go to open the prison door to release the persons who have been detained under this state of emergency, as they are opening the door, the new one takes effect. Because it seems that some such arrangement is being contemplated. I want to address that. It is not the first time that this country would have been subjected to artificially constructed device to avoid the effect of the Constitution and bring into being a state of affairs that suits the political objective, the narrow political objective of a leader. In particular, I am referring to the case which was brought against Mr. Andrew Holness by Mr. Arthur Williams, who was a senator at the time and who, it was alleged, had, if not been solely responsible for, but had certainly been complicit in setting up a scheme for pre-signed resignation letters to be put into effect so that Mr. Holness, as leader of the opposition, could compel the resignation of those senators with whom he did not find favor. Let's just put it at that.
Can a leopard change its spots? You think?
No, not the leopard, only the maker of the leopard.
But yeah, but it's kind of instructive that when you speak about holiness, people think of holiness in terms of taking away yourself from the daily movement of life, but it's not so. It cannot be so, because if it was so, it means that we would stay in heaven and don't live on earth.
Everybody would be in a temple somewhere.
Right. So, just to mash down that lie, people believe that if you are a holy person, you take yourself away. That's the impression you get when you watch these movies and you go up to Tibet and you go to this holy man who will give you an answer or whatever it is. So it means that holiness is a construct for a lot of us that can happen in our daily living. And it seemed that way when God gave the instructions in Leviticus 19, as we went through last week, in terms of what you must do. And those things you can do, those things are not beyond what you can do. So it means then that for every single one of us, from leadership right down to the man in the street, the man you say pushing the handcart, or the person at King's house, they have to understand that ultimately they are accountable for their actions. And there is a frame of reference, there's a code of conduct that each one of us in our daily living can live by. And so I agree with you, our leaders, every single one of us, the different people who exist in the different spheres of influence, you can have a holy existence and you can live your life and you can have a good life by being a holy person. You know, I had a conversation with somebody who called me out of the blue, who was a veteran of the police force for many years, retired now, and he says, this use of a state of emergency, he said, now the work. And this is somebody who would have been through states of emergencies as a policeman from in the 70s. So when a veteran like that says to you, then we need to wheel and come again. Because it says if you really want to go after the persons who are causing the mayhem, the criminals, you can do it. You have the powers in law to do it. So this use of state, he says it's a last resort. It's really a last resort.
Listen, but by its own nature, right?
By the name of it.
Yes, I mean, it's a temporary measure.
Yeah.
How long have we been doing this now?
And it don't work, right?
The amount of times that this thing has been implemented, you should be able to look and see the change if it is so effective, and you're not seeing it.
And when the police who knows better, who should know better because they are the operational persons, he said no. And then he raised a very important point, you know. And in conversations with him over time, he says a lot of people who are recruited into the police force are not passionate about policing, really. He says what they do is, what the force is recruiting papers in terms of people who have the credentials, but they're really not passionate about what they're doing. And, you know, so I was said, yeah, but that's just an aside. But he just said it, that the people, they're really not, their heart is not into it in terms of doing what is right.
Just a job.
It's just a job for them. And he says they need people like that who will do the job properly, like you're passionate. It's like teaching and other things that people are not. You see it in terms of how they carry out what they are doing. So,
but then the buck stops with our leaders.
Yes,
and the buck stops with our leaders. How are we recruiting?
Yeah,
yeah. How are we recruiting in every part of the society? You're gonna find persons within who are not up to scratch.
Yeah,
you need to do what is necessary. Change them. Put people there who are dedicated to the job.
Yeah.
Up to now we can't come up on a crime plan. That can work.
Well,
the crime plan is SOE. No, man, we need to do better than that.
The crime plan cannot be a SOE. It has to be multifaceted in terms of the different things that you do, in terms of really getting the whole populace behind what is going to go to the heart of solving crimes, and in terms of just changing the whole psyche in terms of how we deal with it. And it begins with leadership, you know. Because if you believe that your leadership in your country is corrupt, do you figure that you put yourself out on the line in order to become a part of the change. No, because you say, if I have any information and I pass it on to you, it's going to reach back to the persons who you are trying to capture, the persons who are trying to bring charges against. So a lot of people just have dropped their hands in frustration or in fear, whatever it is, and saying, no, it's not making any sense. And you know, as we talk about crime and violence and corruption and the link that is there, perception drives your reality. Mr. Prime Minister, what has happened with the Integrity Commission and your, what is this declaration that needs to be done?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Well, it has done it, but it has not been
It can't pass
approved for publication.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he needs to deal with that because that is something. And then I found it so unfortunate when Mr. Duncan, who is head of PSOJ, came out against his former colleagues in the PMP, saying that they should have approved it. Come on. Let's deal with it in a whole-scale fashion in terms of fixing the problems. And if we were truthful to ourselves, we know what the real problems are. But nobody is willing to speak the truth to power and says, come on, you need to fix it. Because they're all right. They're okay. No, they're not all right. They're all right. But the people on the ground feeling it. And people are saying, what you doing? Remember the STAR plan? Remember the STAR?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we know what that one is. Let me see. Yeah, I want to take a few minutes, Percy, to look at what the Constitution says about state of emergency, who the chief actors are, and what it is that the country requires of them during this time. This is not about the decision they make. This is about how they make the decision. Because when we speak of holiness, we are speaking about the integrity and the heart behind the decisions that are taken on behalf of this country. And even this morning, we could choose to talk about something else or to just speak about it from a surface perspective and not dive into the big issue of integrity and righteousness that stands behind leadership decision making. Our Constitution, which we know not the greatest and we need to do some work on it, but it is there and it is being observed until we have something else. The Constitution defines, it has an interpretation section in chapter 20, and it defines a period of public disaster as being any period during which there is enforced proclamation by the Governor General declaring that a period of public disaster exists. Now, you may recall that last week, the Prime Minister used the word, described violence as a disease, and said that violence is a threat to public health.
Mm-hmm.
And yours truly said that I was seeing the shades of a desire to utilize the public disaster superpowers that they were available to the government during the COVID pandemic in order to take measures which they could not ordinarily take. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So now you understand that if violence becomes a threat to the public's health, as the Prime Minister defined it, and is really a disease and illness which requires very, very hostile and aggressive treatment, you can see him working his way now to have like a extended or a permanent state of, where you have your various radiation sessions until you burn it out. Okay. Public emergency now, which is what the state of emergency speaks to. Period of public emergency is any period during which Jamaica is engaged in any war. There is in force a proclamation by the Governor General declaring that a state of public emergency exists, or there is in force a resolution of each House of Parliament supported by the votes of a two-thirds majority of all the members of each House declaring that democratic institutions in Jamaica are threatened by subversion.
That's what it means, subversion.
Well, they are going by way of a proclamation by the Governor General. So I am speaking directly to the Governor General this morning as well. A proclamation made by the Governor General shall not be effective for the purposes of subsection 1, which is the public emergency, unless it is declared that the Governor General is satisfied that a public emergency has arisen as a result of the imminence of a state of war between Jamaica and a foreign state. That don't apply. That action has been taken or is immediately threatened by any person or body of persons of such a nature and on so extensive a scale as to be likely to endanger the public safety or to deprive the community or any substantial portion of the community of supplies or services essential to life. That is B. C is that a period of public disaster has arisen as a result of the occurrence of any earthquake, hurricane, flood, fire, outbreak of pestilence, outbreak of infectious disease or other calamity, whether similar to the foregoing or not. And that's why we had the COVID emergency orders. A proclamation made by the Governor General for the purposes of and in accordance with this section shall, unless previously revoked, remain in force for 14 days or for such longer period not exceeding 3 months as both Houses of Parliament may determine by a resolution supported by a two-thirds majority of all the members of each House.
So they had it in the lower house, because they have, but they couldn't get it in the Senate.
It can remain in force for such longer period not exceeding 3 months as both Houses of Parliament may determine by a resolution supported by a two-thirds majority of all the members of each House. That is telling you that if it is to remain for a longer period of time,
14 days.
Beyond the 14 days.
But it can't exceed 3 months.
Even when they agree. It can only go for a longer period, not to exceed 3 months, as both Houses of Parliament may determine. Now we're at the point of the 14 days coming to a close, and the question is there room in the Constitution for the Prime Minister who has failed to get the support of the two houses? Is there room in it for him to simply declare a new state of emergency based on essentially the same facts?
The 300 intelligent cases?
The same facts? Or does he have to let it go and come to the nation, firstly to his colleagues in Parliament, with an approach that can secure the support and the cooperation of not just the parliamentarians but the country? It is not open to the Prime Minister or to the Governor General to avoid the clear effect and intention of the Constitution by being cute. And
call it?
I'm calling it cute because the other words are just harsh.
Okay, all right.
Yes, and we're not trying to be, we're not trying to embarrass or to create or to be scandalous. My objective this morning is to speak truth to power. The truth of the matter is, you too are bound by the laws, and if you flagrantly violate the laws or avoid the effect of the law by some artificial means, you are bringing down a condemnation not just on yourself, but on the entire nation, because the very issue you are seeking to address is about an abandonment of law and order. We say you can't fight fire with fire. You cannot be unlawful in your methods. And I think without even talking about what the opposition is saying, the opposition is on a similar path of saying, let's use the structure that we have to find a way to address this problem lawfully. There is no getting around being lawful in your attention to this matter. It is way too critical. When leaders take a righteous approach, a just approach to the administration of our business, it brings prosperity into the country.
For all.
For all.
And I think that's what everybody needs.
So we need to see our leaders finding a way not just to achieve peaceful accommodation in the House, in the Houses of Parliament, but also to participate in the implementation of policy that makes sense for all of us. So I'm going to do something that I wouldn't even want anyone to do to me. But I'm going to read from the full court, the Court of Appeals judgment against Mr. Holness when he used these pre-approved or pre-signed resignation letters to avoid the effect of the Constitution as regards the appointment, resignation of senators. He did it before, trying to be...
cute, you call it?
I say cute, but trying to be...
disingenuous?
I was going to say ingenious because disingenuous is lying.
Oh, my Lord.
And they went into it thinking that this could work.
Is that what people they tell it?
Well, I mean, Mr. Williams is a lawyer, and he was the one. They had signed these letters, and apparently Mr. Williams was complicit in the preparation of the letters. It's just that when it was used, he was in disagreement on the manner of use. And when it was used against him, he complained to the court that the device was unconstitutional and the use of it was unconstitutional and should be declared null and void. I targeted the Governor General because this morning, the Governor General, or tomorrow morning, or he's been listening to it all weekend, he must sign off on a proclamation that says he is satisfied. The Governor General is satisfied that a fresh situation of public emergency has arisen. Because if you're going to do a new one, it means the old one was something else. I see. So the Governor General must himself, in his conscience, be satisfied. Not that one caught you. Not seeking to placate the Prime Minister or seeking to play ball with the Prime Minister.
And that's not being prophetic.
Yes, you're being prophetic. That is true. Good. He's going to choke on it. I want to know if the Governor General could, in good conscience, sign off on a document that says, well, last week 2 weeks ago, we needed a state of emergency for this reason. And now, 2 weeks later, we need it for a new reason, which would not make the lawful vote in the Senate, which denied the government side the vote they needed to extend the state of emergency. He'd have to be saying all of that happened, the vote and the no that we got, is irrelevant now because we have a fresh set of information, a fresh state of emergency, which requires. So I'm pressing it.
Can we just stop to pray for the Governor General?
You know, you should take a look at the cartoon in the Gleaner.
All right, Percy wants to say a word of prayer for the Governor General before. Yes, Percy, I think that's a good idea.
So, Father, even now, as we go into our break, we commit our Governor General to you. He's your servant. You have placed him in that place for such a time like this. And even as you reminded Esther, if he doesn't do it, then other people rise up and do it. So we send that word even now into the heavens. We ask Holy Spirit that indeed you will trouble him and cause him to do the right thing even now. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Blast FM 100.5 on your dial. Keep listening.
Unemployed persons interested in working in the tourism industry are being encouraged to take advantage of free certification being offered through the Job Readiness Program. The program, being implemented by the Tourism Enhancement Fund, the TEF, in collaboration with the Heart NSTA Trust, will address several issues, including industry knowledge, hospitality, how to deliver service efficiently, cultural information, professionalism, health and safety, and customer service. Director of the Jamaica Center of Tourism Innovation at the TEF, Carl Rose Brown, recently spoke to Vaughn Davis, host of JIS Radio's discussion program Studio 58A, about the importance of job readiness. Here's an excerpt of their interview.
We are finding out that many people simply either never heard these rules or never thought these rules were sufficiently important to absorb and live by. So you'll find a lot of young people going to interviews in what they would wear to a party. And when an employer sees that, it's like a red flag to a bull. They're not going to sit and question. They're not going to sit down and ask what is behind this young person, this costume. They're going to say, "Oh my God, let's not have this." But we can't know. Right. So,
Yeah. I can imagine it's a numbers game in the sense that you're not necessarily you're looking for employees. You're not looking for projects per se.
Precisely, and employers have work to do. When you go to an employer certainly understands that she has to invest in training and developing you to deliver the things that they need at this desk. But they don't want to start from scratch. They want to have some raw material that has potential. They don't want to be able to explain to you. You can't scream at a customer, They don't want to explain to you cannot show up at work looking like you just came in from a party last night. They don't want to explain that to a new hire. And for many of our young people, believe it or not, this point has not been made, or if it has been made, they have not absorbed it or integrated it into how they operate.
I stress it because it's important because, in many cases when they hear programs like this, there's like job readiness, but a person will say, but I left school, I have my qualifications, of course I'm ready. You know what I mean? It's important to stress what the deficits in the soft skills and so on. It's important to stress and reinforce them because there are many persons, like I just said, who are saying like, but these stuck up old people who don't understand why. So what if I dress a particular way, or what if I, this is just how I talk, that kind of thing. It's important to stress, to let persons appreciate that employers are looking for. What are the employers looking for when you step into the room, and how you automatically eliminate yourself just by stepping in there unprepared? You know what I mean? It's important to understand the context within which the program is being implemented and the objective it's trying to accomplish. Now, with that said,
what I say, Vaughn, I say that it's all well and good to determine employers are old for the daddies. You're perfectly at liberty to say that. But let us put the shoe on the other foot. When these same individuals walk up somebody and they just look on them on the side, say, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you. You're not to be my friend." What is it that you are looking at and determining off the bat that I don't want to be your friend, I don't want to talk to you? That subconscious set of barriers, set of filters exist in all of us. And we have to be fair. Those filters exist. The other problem is that in tourism, we don't get to pick our customers. Customers come to us from around the world, and these people have a clear understanding of what appropriateness is.
Director of the Jamaica Center of Tourism Innovation at the TEF, Carol Rose Brown, in an interview with host of JIS Radio's Studio 58A, Vaughn Davis. For more information on the Job Readiness Program, call 876-926-8684 or visit tef.gov.jm. And of course, be sure to catch the full interview on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already Pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in.
Seniors, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security is advising that the November 2022 payment under the Social Pension Program is now available for collection. Check your text messages to confirm your payment arrangements. For further information, call 876-922-8007. The Social Pension Program, caring for our elderly. A message from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, providing opportunity, stability, and social protection.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales, shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Half a tree, 100, bossy. How you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and then diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try calling him, cause trust me.
What a relief.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice for printing.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good. It's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. And to those who are just joining us, I'll do a quick recap because I'm going to read something which I hope to be instructive. Just before, as we were taking the break, Pastor Percival did something which I think is just critical, and it was brilliant. He prayed for the Governor General to fortify the Governor General in the making of a decision which he has no doubt been contemplating and been briefed on extensively since the opposition said no in the Senate. And that one vote which the government needed for the SOE has not materialized. Citizens are rightly concerned, one, by the happenings in the parliament, and two, by the happenings on the street, meaning there are 7 parishes under a state of emergency. And we were told before that decision was made, or even as the decision was made, we were told that the police have 300 intelligence packages, which is the word we're using now for people who we are planning to treat in an inhumane way. Yes, I said it. Anytime you want to dehumanize people, you start to give them, you start to use labels, because you're planning to do something that if the humanity of the individual is uppermost in your mind, you would not have the fortitude to do it.
It's the same thing they did in slavery. They're just chattel.
Chattel slavery. So the government said in their announcement that they have 300 intelligence packages. Well, the 300 intelligence packages, it seems, and more than that, have currently been detained.
They've been detained? That's what your intelligence tell you?
Well, there is, in the reports, you'll see that they have 300. The Prime Minister said the 300 and more persons who were detained in the SOE would have to be released.
Okay.
Because they haven't charged them. And we're back to the same thing which Minister Chang stated quite boldly months ago or a year ago. They want to have the power to detain persons and then hunt down the evidence. And an SOE gives you that. You can take in a minute. For example, I am saying what might be regarded as seditious things this morning. I'm making these statements, and you can take me in and just have me questioning me for longer than the 48 hours or whatever time, reasonable time, applied without a state of emergency.
Wow.
And so you see the opposition is saying you can ask for pre-charge detention orders
for those 300
to keep the people detained whom you have taken off the street. Those 300 intelligence packages can be made the subject of pre-charge orders.
So there's a way within the Constitution for that to be done.
Well, I think that the pre-charge orders might be a device under the Bail Act, which is why you heard Mr. Golding saying he is prepared to work and help with the drafting and preparation of the necessary legislation so that they can move into these enhanced security measures that they believe are necessary. Anyway, that is the process, and I want to stick with the conscience issue now, because our Governor General is going to have to sign a proclamation saying there is a new state of emergency. And he is going to be called upon to do so against the background that the Senate did not give the Prime Minister the single vote needed from opposition side to enable him to have an extension. So what we're looking at is a creative way to avoid the clear meaning of the Constitution, which is that an extension requires cooperation of the people in the House who represent us.
Yeah.
They're not voting for themselves. They're voting for us. They're saying that we do not believe that all citizens in the country need to be under this emergency pressure at this time. If you have 300 citizens, or a few more than that, whatever the case might be, for whom special measures are required, let us focus on addressing those 300 persons. So I'm going to look now at what happened when the prime minister, who as leader of opposition, tried to do a similar thing, create a device, a fiction to allow him to get out of applying the strict terms of the Constitution. On the 6th of February 2015, the full court, comprised of Justices Day, McDonald, Bishop, and Batts, made an order in these terms. It was declared that the request for and procurement of pre-signed and undated letters of resignation and letters of authorization by the leader of the opposition from persons to be appointed or appointed as senators to the Senate of Jamaica upon his nomination is inconsistent with the Constitution, contrary to public policy, unlawful, and is accordingly null and void. If you remember, having used those letters to effect the resignation of those he didn't want, he then promptly appointed 2 people to replace them. And there was the issue of what now of the 2 people who have been put in the seats of those who were unlawfully resigned, let's call it that. May I just say, persons being incarcerated and detained or whatever it is they do to them when they have these intelligence packages in their custody, there is no undoing that, because they couldn't undo the 2 senators who took up their seats were rightly seated and did not budge, as I recall. It's an entirely different situation we're looking at now. When you suspend the rights of citizens across this country, and the court later tells you that what you did is inconsistent with the Constitution, is contrary to public policy, it is unlawful, and the state of emergency is null and void, there is no fixing or giving back the freedom, the rights which were invaded, abrogated, destroyed. None of that can happen. And the Governor General and any parliamentarian who stands with the Prime Minister to deliberately flout the terms of the Constitution would stand condemned. I say condemned because we're talking about righteousness and we're talking about the God whose delegated authority you are using. The second order was that the pre-signed and undated letters of resignation and letters of authorization, as well as the manner of their use to effect the resignation of senators from the Senate of Jamaica, are inconsistent with the Constitution, contrary to public policy, and are accordingly null and void. So any regulations that they pass, any proclamation that the Governor General makes as a result of this contrived new state of emergency would come under challenge on the same ground. And whether anybody take it to court or it's just something we talk about on air and in the streets, please understand that that's not where the true justice occurs. In the sight of your Creator, who give you power and authority to operate in the best interests of his people, you stand condemned.
And if you understood that, that is why I continue to say on this program, everywhere I go, the ultimate accountability is to God.
And it's why we speak as we do, because we're also accountable.
Yeah.
We can't know the truth, see something happening that is contrary to the truth of God, and just give it a bly or a wink and a nod, or be afraid that they're going to shut you down or shut you up or exact some penalty against you. No, you have to speak, and I'm calling on everybody who knows the right thing to do the right thing. In paragraph 15 of the judgment, Justice Day said it appeared to him that the high ideals, principles, and values that the framers of the Constitution intended for the Senate are: 1, a measure of security of tenure; So they were not supposed to be under threat and voting under the pressure that if somebody don't like what they do, they're gone.
Yeah.
2, independence of deliberation. That is freedom to debate. And we can easily see how a freshly declared state of emergency would compromise the independence of deliberation. Separation of powers in the legislature, very important. 2 houses must vote in order for there to be an extension of the SOE. They must vote independently. And if you do anything that compromises the separation of powers, meaning now the Prime Minister would be setting himself up to operate on one leg only. As long as my people that I control the majority, as long as they agree with me, I can do whatever I want. It is a dangerous direction. And 4, check and balance of powers within the legislature. Now, all of that, he was talking about how senators are appointed and how they act. But please understand that it is the same process here.
Yeah,
the Constitution has set up
checks and balances.
Always
the
relevant.
Parliament can say something, but when they got to the Senate, when they look and deliberate, they say, no, man, something gone off there. That is why a lot of the times for something to be gazetted and to become actual law, it has to go up to the Senate. And when they go there, they look at it because they can independent deliberate and say, no, man, that is why it is called the Senate.
And if they say no to something, it is not for the Prime Minister to go behind their back and come up with some cute way to avoid the decision which has come out of it. The judge in this case that I'm reading from concluded that any act or decision by the constitutional holder of an office that nominates senators that conflicts or appears to run contrary to these fundamental ideals and principles would, on the purposive interpretation of the Constitution, be inconsistent and or in contravention of the Constitution and accordingly would be void. That's why we're speaking to the Governor General and saying, if a proclamation comes to you for signature,
and
which contrives a fresh situation of emergency, and you know that the Senate just done vote down an extension, and you participate in giving the government an extension under the guise of a new state of emergency, you would have messed with the purposive intent of the Constitution, and a right-thinking court would strike it down. I say right-thinking court because these days the courts seem to give the government whatever it needs. Justice Day also said that predated letters of resignation and authority, and the authority for the Prime Minister to date them, are contrary to public policy, void and inconsistent with the Constitution. Let's talk a little bit about public policy. The public looks to the government to set the rules, the regulations, the protocols, the guidelines, and to set up priority listing of what things the country need to be focused on and how it gets there. So, for example, right now, public policy demands that there be a strict observance of law in order to preserve the integrity of the state. When taxi men took to the road and said we want amnesty for paying traffic tickets, people said, you break the law, pay the fine, and deal with whatever the regulatory system is. If you can take to the streets to say, I don't want to be held accountable under this law, then everybody else is going to think that that is the right approach, especially if when you do it, it is effective. Public policy at work there. People saying for sanity and order to be sustained in our communities, we need people to observe the law. Public order demands that if the Constitution is the supreme legal instrument in this country, then everybody is bound by it. And we don't look for loopholes and ways to trick it. Public policy demands, if the court is considering a matter that is of importance to the nation, then those who are in the field don't go and do everything that you feel like.
Which is why I think the opposition raises
It's one of the points that the opposition has made.
State of emergency,
Right.
and the court has made a rule, and it's still in the court, and you have gone ahead and then declared it again. That means sure.
And that's why the court made a ruling that affects the well-being of security guards. Everybody's looking to see when will their employers, the business community, the government itself force an adjustment to take into account what the court has ruled. Because if the court makes a ruling and you can just disregard it and continue as if it never spoke, then everybody else who get a judgment from the court would be entitled to do it, and there would be disorder and chaos. Everything in the realm of public policy is about maintaining the integrity of the state, the wholeness of the state. I'm using that word a lot, or words that sound like it. So here a judge is saying, if you allow someone like the Prime Minister to use predated letters of resignation whenever him feel like it, the use of such letters would be contrary to public policy, and it would be inconsistent with the Constitution that requires security of tenure for senators, for the checks and balances to maintain their integrity and purpose, and so on and so forth. So you can see that if we stand by and let our Prime Minister just move along as if the Senate didn't speak, as if the Constitution don't matter, then we're opening the door for everybody to do the same thing. I read an amazing story in the paper yesterday or on the weekend. A woman died. Her body was released to strangers. And the 95-year-old lady, and the funeral home said, yes, I got a paper from the court. Yes, a lawyer called me and spoke to me, but I have to go by the contract that I have. Webster's Funeral Home is reported in the paper as saying, I knew that the court say I should give the body to somebody else. But says the person who spoke on their behalf, I have to go by the contract that I have. So now a private contract, there is a citizen in this country who believes that when they get a document from the court of this land, it is of less power than a private contract. He said the people would sue him.
Okay.
He's more afraid of a citizen taking action against him than the court of this land. Public policy demands that people respect the judgments of the courts. For as long as they are binding, you respect them. When the court speaks, it must have value. That we are seeing and see it reported in the paper.
It's playing out.
Tells you that what the Prime Minister is doing and what he's setting himself up to do, maybe he won't do it. I pray that he doesn't. I am just the voice in the wilderness right now.
Don't want that kind of a thing hanging over.
Jamaica don't want it. Can you imagine, Percival, if we're in that place now where people say, oh, you can do it this way?
Let me just because it's he spoke to let's begin to tack these things together, you know. Remember Clifton? When he said
gunmen and gangs take over a community.
Right. And if you go into the parliament of the land and make a declaration, and when you have to be backtracking, because when you go and you examine it, say, but really not never goes on. You have a duty to come back to the same place and say, this is not so. Remember also, HAJ, the gentleman goes and he finds
evidence of criminality.
And he's dealing with it, and he's fired because the book stocks with him. Careful, you know. Careful the things you do, because they will come back at you in a way that you never expected. Because the truth is, you know, if you do things on a principle, and the principles that we govern ourselves by is based in the Constitution, even not true?
Yes.
Even though we have said that it's not a very good Constitution, but it is what we use.
It's what we have now.
It's what we have now. So if we decide that, boy, it no matter, and I can never forget the words of that 13-year-old we're having the discussion with, and he says, I soon get my driver's license. Brother says, you can't get it until you are 17. He said, So you do. Me just pay my money and do my thing and be all right.
So I thought you said what? Jamaica, in Jamaica you do as you like.
Yes,
Everybody do as they like.
That is what he said. That is what I was surprised. And every time I see him, I see a change in point of view. Him say, yeah, elder. And I saw it go. So we talking team as so we're talking about examples and what we're setting out there as precedent. Oh boy.
All right.
Go on to this.
In paragraph 19 of the decision, and I'm not going to read all of it, it is like 59 pages. I just pick out like about 8 paragraphs and I'm halfway through. In paragraph 19, McDonald Bishop, who is now at the Court of Appeal, well, she regarded the scheme of taking these letters as ill-conceived and nonsensical because it was a contrivance, a fiction. She noted that the Constitution did not give the leader of the opposition the power to effect the removal of any senator from his seat. By comparison, I say here, the Constitution does not give the Prime Minister the power to avoid the effect of the Senate voting against an extension. Doesn't give him that power. The judge there interpreted that fact to mean that the action of Mr. Holness in this case, in submitting the letters of resignation to effect Williams's resignation was inconsistent with the Constitution. The scheme, she described it as a scheme, and I am borrowing her word to describe any attempt to create a new proclamation for a state of emergency in order to avoid the no which was received in Senate. It's a scheme. The scheme, she said, had the undesirable effect of sapping Mr. Williams of his own free will and robbing him of the absolute right in deciding when he would resign from the Senate. I know that people on the opposition side are goading Mr. Holness to start a new one. And I hope he sees that for what it is, because it is wrong, too, for Senator Lambert Brown, who is quoted as goading the Prime Minister to move in that direction. It is wrong for a senator to even float the idea, even in a sarcastic tone, because you must know
what is right.
What is right. And you must know the value of what you're doing in the Senate. It's not a political, back and forth or a debate. These affect the lives of people, and it is not. You're not doing you don't bait the Prime Minister to do something that you know would clearly be wrong, and rob the Senate now of the power that it ought to have under the Constitution. All right, it's time for us to take our 7:30 break.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM, keep listening.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Lady the Queen of the South, and I'm inviting you all to trailblaze with me on the best of the best radio station, the Best 100 FM, Mondays through Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. You can't afford to miss it on your airwaves. Yes, trailblaze with Lady Lee right here, Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on the best of the best, Best 100 FM. Yeah.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere you can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-365 559. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice.
Half a tree, 100. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and then diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try calling him, cause trust me.
What a relief.
It's the season of giving, and the SOS Children's Village is proudly celebrating 50 years in Jamaica. Yes, that's 50 strong years of relentless support to our nation's children. Do you have a heart to care for the less fortunate? Help us to continue to provide a safe home for the children. Donate to a worthy cause. Donate to our website at www.sos-jamaica.org or call us at 979-5850. That's 979-5850.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
I really want to say thank you to Straight Up for giving such a straight response to what we're doing this morning. He says, Percy, I liked your direction this morning. No leader whose integrity is in serious question should be allowed to unjustly impose draconian measures on a people. Very well said. And that's where we are in our thinking. The things that are happening, and it's not just Mr. Holness alone. It seems like on a large scale in Parliament, they've all lost their
compass.
Moral compass is out of whack.
Yeah, because when you have a senator go in, do it now, like
yes. Right. What is that?
What? The level of the discourse has gone way down.
And when you consider that it affects the lives, the safety, the freedom of individuals on the street, because remember now, if we're driving through one of those areas under special, and they stop us and they're not satisfied.
So we're going carted off to the jailhouse?
Yes.
Has that ever happened to you?
Carted off to the jailhouse? To the police station. Arrested over foolishness.
The jailhouse, yeah. It happens.
It has happened. I know what it is when the government puts out an order and everybody is rushing to obey. The men and women in the force who are looking at me and saying, it's not me, call the minister.
Mm-mm.
Of course. Telling I'm like, why should I call the minister about this is above my pay grade while they're arresting us for using Spectrum.
Above your pay.
So we know what it is to be on the receiving end of the draconian measures of an unjust system. And I'm telling you, it is tough for individuals. It is tough for the leaders who allow themselves to be led in that direction. Okay. You asked me to just read back the Constitution as I close off on this piece of it. Because when you listen to it properly, you're going to realize that crime and violence of a general character does not qualify as state of emergency. Listen to what it says. The Governor General, for the proclamation to be valid, In fact, it says it. A proclamation made by the Governor General shall not be effective for the purposes of subsection 1 unless it is declared that the Governor General is satisfied. He is the one. First, war.
Yes.
As a result, and it's not war between feuding gangs.
No,
it is war between Jamaica and a foreign state. So it's not even war between Jamaica and the Maroons, to be clear. It requires a foreign state, and that is not what we're saying. B is the one that you should think about, and I'm going to read it slowly. That action has been taken or is immediately threatened, which means they have to bring evidence to the Governor General to show the immediacy of the threat. Like, Governor General, we have intercepted a report that XYZ is marching towards a particular location with the intent to do harm. So there must be evidence that an action has been taken or is immediately threatened by any person. So you must know the individual or body of persons. So you must know the group with which they're associated. Like when they had the state of emergency that in the 70s, was it? That scrape up a number of GLP. So you must know the person or body of persons. And the threat must be of such a nature and so extensive. It must be of such a nature and on so extensive a scale as to be likely to endanger the public safety or to deprive the community or any substantial portion of the community of supplies or services essential to life. So crime and violence, meaning people a thief your chain or a thief your goat, or even people are fighting in the streets in such a way that it represents a risk to life. Or how would you describe the crime and violence that is taking place? Is it a threat to services, supplies, or services essential to life? It's not like in Haiti when they interfered with the fuel supply.
Are the gangs preventing people from moving about and lawfully conducting their business and a group of people?
Yes. So you have to know with certainty who you're moving against, and it must be of a nature and on such a scale that it interferes with, it interrupts the supplies or services essential to life. Supplies would be medical, fuel, food. Services essential to life would be health, for example.
Yeah.
Water, if they take control of the water system.
Electricity.
Absolutely. None of those things are at risk. So we have gone blindly into this thing of just going into states of emergency because we can't control the unnamed individuals who are creating problems in the community. So the whole nation sometimes, and certainly communities at a time, many of us don't even think about it because it's not our communities. We're not feeling it, but we don't question whether it can properly be called a state of emergency within the language of the Constitution. Earl Brown says a foreign state like the Republic of Tivoli. Okay, then.
Behave yourself.
Yeah, but do you understand what I'm saying? We're so comfortable in letting other people carry the weight of our fear and our perception of what safety means.
That's what the narrative of fear does.
It's quite okay for you and me up in Stony Hill, which will probably never be the scene of a state of emergency unless there is a natural disaster. It's quite comfortable for us to sit up there while the people in Tivoli or Denham Town or some other community that we don't have any connection to carries the weight of it. Straight Up says no one seems to be taking note that the Prime Minister of Canada is now under pressure for allegedly using emergency powers unjustly.
because the
because
people
COVID, what they did during COVID in some countries would constitute war crimes.
Yeah, because even remember the convoy and everything and what he did and so on. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all that, and him under some pressure, they know, you know. Yeah.
Well, you see, thank you for making that point. Even in China, your man, His Majesty, there were protests calling for what Xi Jinping's.
No.
Yes.
No, recently, me missed that one day.
On the weekend while you were sneezing and coughing. So I hope we've said enough on it. In fact, you know, on a fair reading of the Constitution, you cannot leave without recognizing that a state of emergency is the last
resort
that you want to do to citizens.
Police tell you that. They tell you that.
It is the last thing that you want to do. There is a great necessity for us to approach problem solving in a way that is just. Not punitive on one set more than on another, fairly balancing the rights and the obligations of every contending side, and being able to speak to each other as we work through the problem. Cannot have opposition senator goading the Prime Minister to move in a direction that he knows would be wrong. How do you speak after that? Cannot have the opposition leader offering to help, but then saying, since you all don't know how to do it, I will help. That's not an offer to help. That is an insult.
That's how we do politics in Jamaica.
Because I heard Mark Golding offering to help, and then it devolved into a thing like, you know, since you all don't know how to do it, let me do it. That's not an offer to help. If you really wanted to put together a team of lawyers to sit with the Attorney General or whoever is coming up with the draft and say this is what could pass muster, then do it with integrity, offer it in good faith, and do it graciously. All right. Glad to see I have amused Pastor Percival. All right.
No, but you remember, you know, it's you who raise it, you know, when the enemy.
When him neck under your foot.
Be gracious. Yes. Be gracious. Yes. But you don't know, otherwise the kingdom says that. That's kingdom principles. And I'm telling you, it's hard, you know, because you talk to somebody, and you see them going on. And they say, all right, or kill off yourself. You ever reach that place? You're telling people if you continue down that road, this is what is going to happen.
Yes, and you
have to pull back yourself. You have to bite your tongue that you don't say the thing, because you know life and death is in the paw of the tongue. So we just have to be.
Yeah. I started off the morning, as you know, just thinking that when we talk about holiness, be holy because I, your God, am holy. This is the creator of the universe speaking to his image bearers, you and me, not just to the Israelites or to some group that you might say that don't include me. He was speaking to those who he says, I made you in my image. He's speaking to those of whom he said, I've put my law in your heart and I've given you a new heart. It is a heart of flesh, not a heart of stone. So when you are considering people, you're not going to call them intelligence packages. You're going to see them as individuals who are in your scope because you are trying to solve a problem. And if they have erred, your job is to get the repentance, bring them to justice one way or another, and seek to rehabilitate.
Wow.
So I have a couple of proverbs, and there's the book of Daniel.
The one that I normally...
Yeah, one of yours. By justice, a king gives a country stability. But those who are greedy for bribes tear it down. Why is Jamaica falling apart? I meet solid men and women of talent who are not suffering for food. They can afford to live in this country, and they're saying they're giving up.
They're giving up? Why are they giving up? Can they have to pay them way? Are they too much?
No, they're giving up because too much. It's just too much.
Corruption.
It's too much. Everywhere you look, there's disorder of one type or another. And even though you're doing well today, you remember the days when you were not doing well. And you know that they can come again because you're at the mercy of heartless people. When the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan. Why do people rejoice when the righteous thrive? Because they know that they have a fair opportunity to do well.
Yeah. And
That's why you
environment
rejoice.
is so set that is not who you know. It does.
You can be hopeful.
Yeah.
You can expend effort and get a return on it without having to pay the greedy ones for bribes who will tear down the structures, the very structure that you are seeking. Yes. But as we speak to the leaders, we're going to quote another psalm, another proverbs to them too. Evildoers are snared by their own sin.
You never know that.
So you're doing it now and you think you're getting away with it. But I want you to just take stock around you and see. There was a 71-year-old man who had been hiding out in Norwood community in Jamaica. 71. The 71-year-old one I'm talking about.
It's man here?
Charles.
Yes.
Yes.
And then catch up with him.
11 years he was living quietly in a little backwater community of Jamaica. See, 71-year-old extradited to face child molestation charges. He may have well have repented, may not have looked at a small child improperly in Jamaica, not one time. Living here for 11 years?
Yeah.
Extradited. Evildoers are snared by their own sin. So as you are doing something now and you think it's going well, just know, right in the very act that you're committing lies your own downfall. So get on the right side, fix, correct, repent. What did the little man say, the taxer? If I robbed anybody, I give them back 4 times.
Exactly.
Set your house in order. Then comes the one that I really like. The righteous care about justice for the poor, but the wicked have no such concern. Why is this relevant this morning? The states of emergency are most punitive and active in communities where poor people live.
True.
You see them draw a circle around certain communities and the states of emergency operate around them. If you care about justice for the poor, you will want to ensure that your safety does not depend on their punishment or subjugation or oppression.
That's a serious thing, you know, because reflect on what it says. The righteous care about justice for the poor. And justice for the poor is not a PR event. Beg you, no, please.
Yeah.
Justice for the poor is not a PR event. We have, oh my God, when I think about it, you see somebody that gives somebody $5,000, you see the press there and making a big to-do about it. The righteous care about justice
for the poor.
But the wicked have no such concern.
It means we don't want to see them held without bail or held interminably or held with no evidence simply because the police have decided that if I just scrape up everybody from this community, the others will be so scared or they'll move somewhere else or no. I do not want my safety to be at the cost of another man's oppression. It is wicked people who have no concern for the fair and just treatment of the poor. Wicked people.
It's good religion too, according to James.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's good religion. I'm always, you know, as children, you hear the stories of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
My favorite Bible stories.
Yes. But one of the things that I am just now spending a lot of time meditating.
Revelation and inspiration.
Is that, no, not anything quite so deep.
No revelation? I get a new revelation.
Oh, you have a new
so you got a new revelation?
No.
It inspired you?
No, it's talking about it, you see, because most times when we talk about it, it is about the great mystery of how, you know, they stood in the fire and were not burnt. We seldom think about the politics and the jobs which they had.
No, man. That is what...
And that's really where I want to focus.
Because here it is. Previous to that, these guys had just been promoted. You remember that? Them just get promotion. And then them get the promotion. King put out this decree to put it in order and say, you know what happened? Let me see where your real loyalty is. Because it was about that. And your loyalty is about your worship. You continue. Just so that I'll leave it to you.
Yes. No, well, I'm speaking now to those who are in positions of authority, administratively or politically, whether you are in a commercial enterprise or a government business,
or an NGO,
or an NGO, and you have on your desk things to do and decisions to make which would bring you in conflict with the way of the world. Let's just put it that way. So, for example, you're the Governor General who has a proclamation to sign because the government is determined that it need to have certain things in place. But you know that at risk, there are 300, 600, however many people they took up in the 2 weeks that they have detained from day one or whatever day of the SOE. You know that they're there, not yet charged, despite you're being told 2 weeks ago that we have information on these people, we need to move quickly. And 2 weeks have passed and they're still in custody and they haven't been charged with any crime. And maybe you're even wondering too, what about the billions of dollars of cocaine that were taken off the plane in
US dollar worth,
yeah.
Ian Fleming
Airport. You may even be wondering, how effective are we in dealing with high crimes? Okay, you must know that those 3 men whom we learn of them surviving the fiery furnace, it's not about the great wonder of them surviving the fiery furnace. It was about their boldness in taking a decision based on conscience and faith, not caring if they had to pay the consequences.
I hear it in their statement. Read it
Absolutely.
Read it for the people.
So let's put it, as you say, in today's parlance. So you're standing before the Prime Minister who has said you need to do this because this is what I believe to be necessary. And you say, no, not doing it. The Prime Minister then says, well, are you
Talking
prepared?
To the permanent secretaries too.
Yes. Then the Prime Minister says, well, you know, you're going to have to go home. This is what you have to know, that you are covered when you take a decision in the right. So let's put you on stage now. Nebuchadnezzar has said to them, is it true that you do not serve my gods or worship the image I have set up? Now, when you hear all this music, if you are ready to fall down and worship the image I made, very good. So if you do what I want you to do, very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace. Then, what God will be able to rescue you from my hand?
Because me a God.
Who's greater than me? I have power over your livelihood. I can go into your business and shut it down. I can give an order and you're taken into custody and nobody talk to you for the next 10 days, 14 days. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up.
What are the gods that our people are called to worship? Expediency?
This is where we are in this country. We need men and women who have the character, who understand enough about right and wrong and about the power of God, who is the source of goodness.
And everything.
Of everything. You must know that when you stand for his principles, when you stand for his business, when you stand for what's on his agenda, you don't need to defend yourself before anyone.
Wow.
Just do the right thing.
You know,
you're covered.
Let me tell you, we will not bow down, we will not worship if I could just, worship is about your service. Worship is about
your work.
Your work. So in my work and my service and what I do with my hands, I will not bow to the God of this world. Because Jesus in declaring it, and you know, a lot of times we don't make the connections. You can't serve God and mammon. You cannot. The love of money is the root of all evil. And there comes a point, as you have said, you have to make a clear choice as to who you're going to follow, who you're going to worship, who you're going to serve, what it is that you're going to do. They were bold enough to say, no, that even if we have to die for this, it don't mean anything to us because we know this is not the end of it.
Yep.
It's just
as we take the break, I just want to leave you with one thought. When the heart of a leader is changed to a path of righteousness, the nation, he changes the face of the nation.
Always does. Always.
So that's why we spend so much time trying to get our leaders to see what we're talking about and make the change. Because if they change, they are the 20%. If you fix that 20%, the 80 fall in line.
And move forward.
Let's take our 8 o'clock break. When we come back, we're going to have words with you. Please make a note of the numbers to call: 876-619-1508 and 876-279-8473. This is the Morning Connection, taking our 8 o'clock break, and then we'll be right back.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Hello, I'm Emily Thomas with the BBC News. Police across Europe have dismantled what they describe as a drugs super cartel responsible for around a third of the continent's cocaine trade. The European Union's police agency said it had made nearly 50 arrests in Spain, France, Belgium and the Netherlands. It says 6 high-value targets were detained in Dubai. Anna Holligan reports.
According to Europol, these suspects were involved in moving huge amounts of cocaine. We're talking about, in the case of the 2 Dutch suspects who were detained in Dubai, one of them is Dutch Moroccan, another one is Dutch Bosnian. We have a lot more detail on those 2 suspects who are alleged to have brought the drugs in to Antwerp and then brought them to the Netherlands to be processed. And in terms of the numbers, 30 tons of drugs seized by law enforcement officers across Europe and in Dubai as a result of this action.
The Chinese authorities have moved to end protests against COVID restrictions that took place in a number of cities over the weekend. In Shanghai, large barriers have been erected along the main protest road. China's Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian said Beijing was dealing decisively with the problem and relied upon the cooperation of the Chinese people.
China has been following the dynamic zero-COVID policy and has been making adjustments based on the reality on the ground. And as we speak, China's following the 9th version of the pandemic protocols and 20 measures. We believe that with the leadership of the Communist Party of China and the support of all the Chinese people, our fight against COVID-19 will be successful.
Officials in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, say al-Shabaab militants are holed up in a hotel room surrounded by government forces. Gunfire and explosions could still be heard more than 12 hours after the Villa Rose Hotel was stormed by the jihadist group. At least 4 people have been killed and government officials are amongst the injured. The Likud party of Israel's Prime Minister-designate Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to give a government post to a homophobic, ultranationalist party leader. The far right has taken unprecedented power within Israel's new coalition. Tom Bateman reports.
Avi Maoz is the leader of Noam, a tiny ultra-religious far-right party that espouses openly homophobic policies and seeks to give primacy in Israel to Jewish religious law. Mr. Maoz has described LGBTQ people as a threat to the family and has said he wants to cancel the gay pride parade in Jerusalem. He also says a woman's greatest contribution is in marriage and raising a family. He will become a deputy minister under Mr. Netanyahu, heading an authority responsible for Jewish identity.
BBC News. The mayor of Kiev has warned that large numbers of people may have to leave the city because of Russia's continuing attacks on its infrastructure. Vitaly Klitschko emphasized this was only a possible scenario, but warned that the Ukrainian capital was suffering shortages of power and water. Iran's Revolutionary Guards are reported to have arrested a person described as the head of a network of people affiliated to the UK-based Iran International TV. Iranian state media say the unnamed individual, who's accused of planning to carry out acts of sabotage, was arrested in a complex intelligence operation in the northwestern county of Hoy. A court in Comoros has handed down a life sentence for high treason to the former president Ahmed Abdallah Sambi. He was convicted of selling passports to stateless people living in the Gulf and had been accused of embezzling millions of dollars. Citing an unfair trial, Mr. Sambi refused to attend the hearings at the State Security Court, whose rulings cannot be appealed. Mr. Sambi's lawyer said there was no evidence of missing money. The singer Bob Dylan has apologized to fans who spent $600 on a signed book because it wasn't actually signed by him. Here's Charlotte Gallagher.
The philosophy of modern song is about music Dylan loves, and a limited number, just 900, was sold for $600 each, as they were hand-signed by the singer himself. Except they weren't. When people began sharing photos of their book online, they quickly realised the signature on every single one was exactly the same. That's impossible if someone's personally signing all 900 copies. Now Bob Dylan has admitted a machine called an auto pen signed the books.
Dylan has explained that a bad case of vertigo prevented him from doing the signings himself. That's the latest world news from the BBC in London with me, Emily Thomas.
Difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM, keep listening.
All right. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is your radio pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Richard Printers, your best choice in printing.
Half a tree, 100. Bossy, how you do a take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and then diagnose your problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man. Respect my boss.
Try calling him, guys. Trust me.
What a relief.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash. Located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash. The best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Say, let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when faith is more valuable than real, lies prefer the truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Donna, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com for bookings, Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Lady Lee, the queen of the South, and I'm inviting you all to trailblaze with me on the best of the best radio station, the Best 100 FM, Mondays through Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. You can't afford to miss it on your airwaves. Yes, trailblaze with Lady Lee right here, Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on the best of the best, Best 100 FM.
Yeah. The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. It's my Christmas mood that's causing me to speak in song. All right, we're going to open the lines because we really do want to get some additional input. During the break, I was saying to Lowell, I'd never really read the section in the Constitution concerning states of emergency deeply. I read about the proclamation, Governor General proclamation, when we were doing the pandemic emergency orders. I had to read upon it. But honestly, when I read this section for emergency, state of public emergency, crime and violence by unnamed individuals of a non-specific sort, because really the Prime Minister is focusing on murder, but murder in and of itself, it's just one of the ways that crime and violence is manifested. There is no known individual or body of persons who is seeking to murder individuals in communities and moving in such a way that it constitutes an interruption in essential supplies of goods and services to any particular community. Food is being delivered across this nation every day. Water, electricity, telecommunications, up to some level of, I mean, I won't say it. People are having services. You can get to it. You can get to school. You can go to the hospital. The threats against public health or safety from the schools and the hospitals and so on don't have anything to do with crime and violence. We know that we're not at the best in some of those areas, but it's not because of the activities of gang members or known individuals. So when I look at the section that tells us what conditions ought to be in place for a state of emergency, I'm surprised that it has never come up for discussion, whether just general.
Because what has happened, we've trusted our leaders to do right by
Yes.
us, and now people are questioning everything. Because what I think happening and what is emerging is everybody is questioning the hearts. What are the people's motivation? And then based on their actions, you're seeing otherwise. Because remember, thoughts, feelings, behavior. And your thoughts cause you to feel a certain way, you're going to behave a certain way. So that's why we keep emphasizing the need to begin the change process, checking your heart, checking your mindset, because it's going to affect how you behave. And a lot of people in Jamaica saying, boy, they have removed themselves from the process because they are saying to themselves, then people are not thinking about me at all, you know? So whatever I do really not going to affect the price of butter or thing for me. So then just run down leave it.
Butter
and bread or whatever. Price of flour. People say.
I know why you chose butter, Percy.
Butter. You never have
I'm
butter,
partial to butter myself.
Never have
butter by itself.
dumpling, butter, and you never know about that?
No, but you didn't say the price of flour. You said the price of butter. So I thought butter was especially important in your diet.
Mm-hmm. Some people have butter and dumpling. You know about that yet?
All right, sir. Not gonna talk about butter dumplings this morning. Though I did hear about butter bun.
Okay.
From the first time I read about butter bun was in The Lunatic.
Oh, jeez.
By was it Anthony Winkler?
Yes.
And the madman saying no one nobody give him butter bun. I'm like, what on earth is butter bun? Lowell is laughing. You know what it is?
When they get bun. You get bun.
Yeah. Butter bun.
You never understand.
No, well, the first thing is I know of bun and cheese.
Yeah, but you get bun.
Yes.
Buttered bun.
So what is buttered bun?
You get bun and butter on top of it. It's even worse.
So now you're explaining bun. Oh, so this is not the bun that you eat you're talking about.
No. The lunatic. You remember what the lunatic was about?
But I'd never heard the expression butter bun.
Gosh, all right.
That's what I'm saying. A long time I read it still in us. So perhaps I was more innocent.
You know, as we talk about.
A friend did explain to me what butter bun is. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Morning, November.
I am well, African. How are you? Your voice just faded. Come, love. I'm
Good morning.
All right, my brother. What's happening with you this morning?
It's good to be here. You know, me I listen to your comment this morning, Miss Minute.
Yes.
On the Constitution.
Yes.
I'm going to say, the senator, them know where you read about and something there.
They're presumed to know it, yes.
And Gigi know it too.
Should. He's in the job and is him supposed to do the proclamation. Surprising, isn't it?
Huh?
It's kind of surprising when you hear these things.
So you can't get a copy of the something you read there?
The Constitution? Sure. I could, yeah.
Miss Minute, please let me get one now, please.
All right. But before you leave the call, give Lloyd your number. I'll send it to you. I will send it to you.
No, I'm not going to lie, Miss Minute. Then that's why you have to deal with the Bible same time and.
Yeah, that's what I do. So we have to put them together so persons can see the direct line between what God requires of us and what we're doing.
Miss Minette, I see what's going on there. What's going on there, Miss Minette?
I agree with you. I see. Go ahead.
I could shake Africa.
If we allow these people to carry out what they might carry out here, so you know what God works, don't?
I do.
They work in mysterious way now. You know, say God will make the people them rise up in Jamaica and all kind of something start happening, community.
It has begun, you know.
It started already.
It has started, and there are some of us who are just trying to speak in as quickly and as often as we can to give it the best direction that can emerge. We're not
That's
gonna.
why you know.
Yes.
I feel caution them like this morning.
Yes.
Miss Minetti the first time you're listening, you know. Me, you know. You know, there's something sound right, Miss Minetti. You come with some truth right now where majority of Jamaica people and don't know these things, you know, Miss Minetti.
I know that.
If you should go around in every community and make them know these things.
Yeah.
What would it do, Miss Minetti?
Well, knowledge is
become empowered.
Knowledge is power.
Because if I don't know something, you're not going to really.
You don't even think of it. Oh, you can't think of what you don't know.
And then this thing now, when I take a stock, it's only against the poor.
Always.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate thing in Africa.
Always.
It's only against the poor.
I listen to hear where yeah. Your voice fading, African. I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, Miss Minetti.
Okay, good.
Yeah, hear me now.
I hear you.
Man, you're in a better now, my brother.
Are we at the foreign state?
You know, it's funny you said that, but somebody put it there and say, yeah, like Tivoli is a foreign state. Not of us.
Miss Minetti, all of these things with the people imagine.
Your voice keeps fading. I don't know what is happening.
Yeah, me I say.
Yes.
All of these things where the government are doing. It is against the Constitution.
It is, in my view. So, you know, he's talking now, and my prayer is that he does not do it, because that is a level of condemnation I don't want either on him or on the country. But when you hear talk about taking a decision without the opposition, you're seeking to move contrary to the provisions of the Constitution.
The lower house of the Senate.
Yes.
One of them pass it to go through one.
The lower house is the parliament. But the Senate stop it because they never had the 2/3. They needed one of the government.
Pass it.
The
Parliament. Yes, Parliament where the government has the majority of members. They pass it because they have a clear majority. Then it goes to the Senate, where you need a 2/3 majority in the Senate, which means they need to get at least one vote from the opposition that has 8.
Yeah.
And them didn't.
And they didn't.
So they're aware of the law.
They are aware of the law.
And you say one parliamentarian and that's them to go ahead.
He's a senator. One of the opposition senators was saying, like, you don't need us. Go on your own. Do it on your own. Because it's referring now to the possibility that they could just start a fresh 14-day period, like it's a new time, like it's a new emergency that has arisen.
And Philip Palwell. What him say about the
Well, he's a member of parliament, so he would have voted against it when the parliamentarians voted.
Well, when it go on me, are they going on this team did that talk about and about the emergency?
No.
I don't know what you're referring to.
He was saying something about the gun on amnesty. So the man them for bringing them gun or something like that, and what team won't come in with them to take away.
Oh, okay. Well, you can understand why he would be saying that.
Yeah. So, Miss Minetti now,
yes.
Back to the state of this emergency where them have against the Africans in Jamaica.
Against all Jamaicans.
Huh?
It's against all Jamaicans.
Yeah, what would do the politician them so that's them would really want to do with this government bless?
Boy, I can't answer that one for you.
Answer that one.
But leave your number with Lloyd. Let me send you a copy of the Constitution because it's a document. I can send it to you by WhatsApp.
All right.
And I hope all the call of them hear this morning,
Boy, I really hope that not just the callers, but
all of Jamaica.
I want some of the leaders.
That's what I was talking about. Go around and make the people them know. Because the Constitution needs to teach too in a school.
Yes.
True.
Yeah. We have to
in
do
a
more.
school,
Yes, I agree. I agree with
We
you.
agree there 100%.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
These are things that people should know and know from early.
Love and bless. Give thanks, yeah?
All right.
You too, my brother. So talk to Lloyd.
Yes, sir.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you, my dear?
I'm good.
You've completed the rites for your mother?
Almost.
Okay.
Yeah. What African was saying just now, this should have been something that's been advertised like your right to the law. If when you stop and search, those things should be up instead of this advertising about woman and black stallion and all this crap. These are the kind of things they should be advertising so people could educate themselves. Right? But on the other note is about the hospital, the procedures that happen. I can tell you all that I was also next of kin for my father, who died in 1996 in London. He was in a nursing home because he was married second time, and he was put in a home, but I was the one that was called upon when anything happened.
This is in Jamaica?
My father,
in Jamaica?
No, in London.
Okay.
Yes, and my father took ill, and anyway, he had a pneumonia, because they always put it down to pneumonia when they can't breathe and everything, and the lungs pack up or whatever. But do you know, my father died in the hospital, and the home called me, and then the hospital called, and I got the other two sisters, and I drove, and we all went. They never removed my father from the hospital bed until we get there.
Yes.
And that should be the right and decent thing to do in any family.
Mm-hmm.
But after what I've told you,
yes.
My godson's parents and two other people told me the same thing that happened to me happened to them.
This is now in Jamaica. Yeah.
Yes, that the parents died. And instead of calling them, they call you on a private phone. Right? So they private the number.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have several missed calls, yeah, and it says private. But how on earth you're going to return a call when it says private? There's no number to return the call to. And that's what they did to me. And say they've been calling several times. At the same time, the home should have been sending a carer, a carer to go to the home to take records, finding out what's happening, doing the dockets, bringing it back to the home, etc. But that wasn't happening. That's another thing that I have to talk about at a later date. But I'm saying this, that if anybody is not aware, they should find out now. When if the family die in hospital, does the hospital have the right to just pack them off to undertaker, which they deal with? Yeah? You know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, we know that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's coming in, but I want to be very careful what I say here, even though I know I'm right, yes? But it's coming as if there is an organization or an arrangement, agreement with the hospital and certain undertakers. They don't care if your parents have some lifespan left or whatever, because I told you, this particular doctor that was speaking to me regarding my mom, the fact that she was 96, the amount of how he was going on about her age, as if You know,
What's the fuss?
she live a long time.
All right. May I say something to you, Rachel? Because you're obviously grieving your mother's departure and the way in which she was treated by any decent standard would be regarded as inhumane. She died. You weren't told when you had to hunt for her body, and then there's that whole sort of careless, what's the fuss about? It's only a body treatment. But understand now that Jamaica is a place of great trauma and crisis. Everybody have PTSD. You don't have it yet, but you soon will. And it's not a curse I'm putting on you.
Traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, it is just that we're living in a time when crime is the reason for a state of emergency, a suspension of people's rights. We have lost any kind of humane, decent touch for times when even animals make time to grieve. If you see an animal dealing with the body of a child, or you can tell that there is some emotion going on there. So you've been you've been caught up in a situation that is terrible, but there are some reasons why things are the way they are, and we need to change them. For example, when you are in London, there probably isn't as great a demand for beds. A simple thing like taking the body out of the bed right away so you can sanitize it and put somebody else in it. People are spending time on chairs.
Area.
Yeah. Can you hold on for me, Rachel, please? We just need to take the 8:30 break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Ready, mama. Ready. Is this the confusion you feel when trying to work your way through medical systems in Jamaica? Try a dose of Ask Dr. Mary every Thursday at 5 to 6 p.m. Let Dr. Mary help you understand your medical problems and bring you to a calmer place.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales, shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Half a tree, 100. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, at 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose your problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man. Respect my boss.
Try and call him, cause trust me.
What a relief.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good. It's better. But nothing beats.
Hi, Rachel.
Yes.
All right. So I was trying to put a context, not to excuse it, but just to put a context around it, and just to explain, because I've had to deal with it. My aunt passed away while she was at KPH, and I discovered what their procedure is. They don't have enough storage facilities for the bodies that come in or whatever.
You have to make arrangements.
So they do make arrangements, and the government pays for it for a minimum period of time, 2 days, I think, after which you have, or during which period you make arrangements according to your choice. It is really storage that they focus on. It's not an undertaker. They're not making a decision for citizens how to handle final arrangements. It is storage, because they've had horrible scandals about bodies not being kept decently in the insufficient storage facilities that they have. But I think your advocacy might bring about a change of policy somehow.
Yes, because while I understand what you're saying, I'm saying at the same time, families should know these things. There should be something within when even the contract at nursing home, should anything happen. Because I have very good friends and family members who run nursing homes, right, at overseas and here. And if anything happens to anybody, the nursing home is responsible to take them to the hospital and send their staff to look and keep a check, like I mentioned before. But I'm saying that there are places here that are not properly checked. And when you who know better tell them, they tell you, oh, ministry said this all right, and ministry said that's all right, and you know it's not all right.
Well, in honor of your mom, perhaps you can mount an effective advocacy campaign to bring about changes in the policies that apply to this area.
I intend to, but I just want to encourage families, family members out there, watch and be careful and get to know your rights and what happened. Because if I was in Mobay or in London or in Ochi or I'm away, how long would it take me to know what happened to my mom?
Yeah. And
I
that's
think
regrettable.
It's in a time like this. Up till now, I haven't even got back the things that went there with her, or that I sent the carer with. You know? So, I'm just saying, we're looking after people, elderly or children are concerned. They should be great care. In these spaces, these are elderly people we're talking about.
I cannot fault you for a single thing that you have said, my dear. Well, you know that our sympathies are with you.
And Rachel, remember the grieving process and the counseling. All right?
Okay.
Have a good day, man. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning. Welcome. You know, it really is a mark of our humanity that even under times of great stress, we don't forget certain things. And empathy and compassion are amongst the things that we have to cling to. So we don't begin to treat, people dying as if it is of no consequence. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not bad.
Esther.
Fever.
So win this morning.
I'm win again.
Well, that fever was brief.
It was a trial draw between
Serbia and
Cameroon and Serbia.
Serbia and Cameroon.
Wow.
3-all draw.
Ghana lead South Korea, I think.
Okay.
Ghana, Brazil are my two outside
Those are your
teams.
picks. I see.
All right.
When Jamaica is not playing.
Okay.
But Brazil is my team when Jamaica is not playing. When Jamaica not play, Brazil are my number one team. Ghana second.
All right. You have it lined up.
Anyway, Pastor.
Yeah, my brother.
Duncan, father, let we do just like he's doing right now.
Oh, why you say that?
Because father do some things in our PMP before him where he shouldn't do. So you can, those men are unpredictable.
Okay. Why you say that? What him do now?
This Duncan, the one in our PSOJ, him let me down, man. Him let me down. Some things we must say, they can't believe say him.
Yeah. The man is a pragmatist.
I'm hearing a feedback, Cruz. Do you have a radio going in the background? Is that what I'm hearing?
Go on down my car, maybe mother if you turn it down, but she'll watch it match with Donna.
Oh, all right. So, okay, go ahead.
Like, when I move away from
thank you.
Duncan, me never expect him like him turn capital.
Man is turned capitalist. Man is a capitalist.
So this now is your comment on the STAR project, which he is heading through the PSOJ or co-chairman or whatever, and Pastor's question about it. That's why, because, I mean, Duncan as leader of, what is he now, president of the PSOJ, he is head of a growing commercial bank and investment house, and he is clearly one of the princes or the leaders of this country. Go ahead.
The king. This minute.
Yes.
How many black men is in the PSOJ? Negro like all me. How many of them is in it?
No idea. But I'm sure there are quite a few.
I don't think so.
Yeah, man.
I don't.
Quite a few, man.
There are quite a few.
You have Indian Pandui and other people, yeah? Mix up.
Give
me your comment on the PSOJ, because it might not be about color, it's about use of power.
Yeah.
It's about color, too. It's about color. Those people don't care about black people. They're talking about Jamaican dying because the government, the opposition, they decline that thing. They don't really care about poor black people. They don't care. They just want to use the PNP for real as kids to stay in power. That's the main thing.
That's the point you're making.
Because I don't see how you need state of emergency to fight crime. When you know the crooks, you know where they're there.
Well, they said there are 300 people about whom they have intelligence, and I would say you don't need a state of emergency to get to them.
No, you don't need a state of emergency to get to them.
No one has really explained what it is you want to do to them outside of just holding them indefinitely without charging them with a crime. What is it that you want to do that only a state of emergency can permit?
And I need somebody to find out all the people that they lock up in this state of emergency that will know who those people are, where they're from. Is it political motivated or are just some guys where them pick up off the street?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying, yeah.
And the other last thing I want to do, the first state of emergency that was put forward in this country,
yes,
and PNP, it was deserving because United States was backing the opposition then. And I know about that. I'm 65-year-old. I've been following politics when I was 3-year-old.
So you said last week.
Right? So there was a threat to the government here in that time. You know?
Yes.
Like big bad politician. I know a lot of them right now. Anyway.
Yes.
I'll talk to them.
My brother. So,
You was talking about, I haven't got the thing I call. I just thinking about people with power and what they do with
it's
it.
power.
It's power that it is
Because when they have black leadership in the PSOJ, they behave the same way.
Yeah, because and so go back to your heart and what you think, your motivation for what to do. So let us not.
Yeah.
That is like red herring.
Color is a misdirection.
Like a red herring?
Red herring. Yeah, that's true.
I was just looking at some comments in the paper today about the leader's
SOE?
reaction, honest Western opposition motive for blocking SOE extension. Morning caller, how are you? Okay. When one person says, obviously this plan is ineffective. Find a new one or find a new minister.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Lawrence.
Oh, how are you, my dear?
I'm okay. And Pastor, good morning, and Mr. Lawrence, good morning.
So like Bailey.
Yes, it is Bailey who don't get any sleep.
Oh, they're partying and it's Christmas season now. You need to visit your family in the country.
Tell me about it. Oh, if only I had, and my mom and dad didn't leave me any country.
You have to make one. You're going to have to forge some relationships. But what's happening with you this morning?
What does public order dictate concerning the constant interruption of a citizen's sleep or prevention of a citizen's sleep? What does public order dictate?
All right. You say public order, but maybe you mean public policy.
Policy.
Right. Public policy seeks to preserve the overall health and well-being of members of the public, and that is why you have noise pollution regulations and different standards are set which govern how citizens use the same space so that entertainment can take place, but it is reserved to certain hours and you require a permit, and the decibel level is there is a regulation that speaks to how loud it can be up to that time. So what is happening to you is not even a public policy issue. Your rights are being breached in an unlawful way that should result in the prosecution of others, but you are in a community where either the police don't care about what is happening or the other citizens don't care enough to join you in objecting to it. And what's happening to you is just terrible. There's no word for it, and I can hear in your voice that you are suffering some trauma. It is frightening to me that you should have to consider moving, relocating from your house that you own because the police in the area and the citizens in the area do not respect the law.
The police does absolutely nothing at all about it. As a matter of fact, they want to attack you. They implicate you. The perpetrators know who called, and they go over the loudspeaker and they cuss them.
Lord of mercy.
And then put on them song. I'm saying, this is in reaction to an incident that even went down with the police, like on a Thursday evening.
Yes.
And on the Friday night, they came over their mic as loudly as ever. And that is exactly for who complained.
For whoever complained.
Yeah, they never usually do that, say, one string of cloth coming through your house late as that night was Friday night.
Oh,
and
my
then
gosh.
Yeah, and then you hear them put on the song, which I've never heard before, but we're not afraid of nobody. You understand? But I declare clearly that I'm not afraid of them either. I declare that publicly, that I'm not afraid of them either. I see it as having one life. You're taking away my health anyway, which means taking away my life. It's that bad night after night after night. And the hypocrite Judas police come according to them to the area, according to them. They come, they are so evil, as you quoted from the scripture. The wicked cares nothing about justice for the poor. And that's exactly what is happening in Jamaica and to me. And it's not like the citizens don't care, because I've spoken with many persons who have absolutely no confidence in the police or no trust factor whatsoever. And because they know what goes on when they complain, that the perpetrators know exactly who, including men in the scheme. Men who are afraid and don't bother to call, they don't bother. they don't bother, but I can't allow people to take away my life. Mrs. Lawrence is either one way or another that is going, and I'm not going to let them do this. So my question is, how do you bring action against these people? The police being a big part of it, do I sue the police? Do I sue the parish council? Do I sue the government? It's crazy, and it has to stop, and I have nowhere going.
Okay, so
they give me a house in exchange.
All right. So the first thing is, if you're gonna bring an action against someone, it has to be the actual perpetrator, in the sense that you'd have to start with the premises from which the noise is emanating. So if you know the name of the householder, or if you know the producer of the party, because them probably shout out their name plenty time, you would start with them. The actions that you can take, you can take actions at different levels. It can be personal, meaning you in your name sue them in their name, and you attack the behavior. You ask for an injunction, and it may be too, that you can do it in the parish court, because the parish judge has power to grant injunctive relief for some things that are happening between property owners. You certainly can go to the Supreme Court. And you don't have to even be fretting about, can I get a lawyer? Go there and tell them you don't have money for a lawyer, you want to do it by yourself. There are persons there who will assist you in filling out the forms to file your action. You can also go through the public health municipality process, which means going to the parish council, making a complaint about the pollution that is taking place. You can go to the public defender about the police. For this now, you would need to take the name of the policeman who you're going to make the report to. Record the treatment, not necessarily tape record it or record it on your phone, but make a note of what is said to you by whom.
Yes. I have been doing that. It's so much. It's crazy.
Go to the public defender's office and tell them what is happening. You're in a community. You're feeling threatened now because you keep calling, they keep ignoring you, and now you feel like they're actually probably even pointing you out. Well, everybody know which house, because you can't take up your house and hide it. But these are things you can do to help yourself in it, and do it at a cost, at a minimum cost. I mean, you have to take bus and drive your car and be up and down if you choose to, but you don't necessarily have to go and engage and pay an attorney. I don't know if there are any NGOs like environmental that have an interest in containing things like noise pollution and so on, that might take it up on their budget, but you certainly can take those steps on your own.
Yeah.
All right.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, right, there, and just get some earplugs and keep praying.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hi, good morning.
How are you, my brother?
How you doing?
I'm here.
Right.
But I feel it was the pride of that lady, man. I know what she's experiencing, But we in Jamaica, sometime or the other, we have always experienced something like that, and the authorities don't seem to be doing anything about it. They make all these laws, and they don't know that enforcing, and they don't realize that these are some of the things why the country is ungovernable.
Absolutely. And then you want a state of emergency for crime and violence. That lady, if she lose her mind and decide to burn down a place, you could not blame her.
No, I maybe so. Her husband have a gun or something and go there and kill 10 people because of frustration.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, what I called to talk about this morning really is the state of emergency. I must say I congratulate the senators of the People's National Party for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
No, I was listening to a press conference where the leader of the party, Mark Bowling, was making a presentation. And one of the things, but I hear it said that a legal procedure can be quickly developed, where law enforcement can apply to the Supreme Court for expatriate order.
Mm-hmm.
They said that order could come without notice to the other side, meaning that
you don't have to tell the person who against whom you're seeking the order.
Right. Providing supporting affidavit of credible intelligence that justified immediate detention of
the person in question.
Perceived risk criminal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with a law like that, you can apply to the court. Why is the need for this net fishing that the government wants to carry out? You know?
Yeah.
If you have a law like this, something you can do, and you can go to the court, get the court involved. But you say the whole thing is that,
so, let me say something about that kind of law.
Mm-hmm.
When you put it before the court, you have left I think one morning you spoke about separation of powers. You have left your executive or your parliamentary silo in which you have full power, and you have now taken your decision making over to the court for a judge to question you on whether or not the order you are seeking is really necessary or relevant. And yes, you can go without giving notice to the party. Let's be specific what we're talking about. The police believe that you, Enlightened, are a violence producer, and what they have are a series of information from very many sources, some of them they can't disclose, which says you are the man who is organizing a gang of thieves or murderers out of your house. When they go to a judge with that evidence to say, permit me to take Enlightened into custody and keep him while I complete my investigation as to whether or not all these things that I say about him are true, they are going to come up against the judge's knowledge of the law on your entitlement to be treated as innocent until proven guilty. You're going to come up against your constitutional rights to your freedom unless you are taken in some legal process. They're going to come up against your right to be heard. Can they really come and say these things about you with an intent to incarcerate you behind your back? When the political arm puts its decision-making under the supervision or the scrutiny of the judiciary, they lose control.
Yes, and they don't want to do that.
And they don't want to lose control.
As simple as that.
So Mark Golding knows this, even as he's there as a lawyer, saying we can develop a quick law enforcement procedure where you take it to the Supreme Court. If you take it to the Supreme Court and you don't have a law that says pre-charge detention provisions, even if you have a law that says it has to be tested against the Constitution.
Yes, but what is happening, because based on what he said, they use that in countries like the United States and England,
Yeah.
This type of law,
Well, England has no constitution.
Yeah.
So it's not coming up against that. And in America, however they use it, I am sure they have various protocols for keeping the citizens' rights intact while they do it.
What he's saying that they detain you for like for people at that time, and if any evidence come out,
14 days and up to 49.
Yeah, they can't substantiate evidence, then they have to let you go.
Yes, and then when they let you go, chances are you have to give them they have to give you a check for false imprisonment or wrongful imprisonment, depending on how far it goes. The point I'm making is that there is no getting around having the proper respect and regard for people's fundamental rights and freedoms. And the government's choice to keep using states of emergency to do so is a flagrant disregard for constitutional procedures.
This proposal to me would be more satisfactory if it is carried out in a proper way, because they involve in the court involved in it,
Yes, it would be. It would be more favorable. It could be more favorable to the citizen, and it would affect less persons, because it's one thing to have an order against one individual. It's another to have a state of emergency that locked down the whole community.
Yeah. But you see, what is happening, you know? Unless they get rid of this commissioner of police, you know. Because if you notice in this country, you know, the prison service is controlled by the army. The private security is controlled by the army. This commissioner of police, right, has spent most of his adult life in the army, you know. The army is one of the most undemocratic organizations anywhere in the world, you know. You don't have no right in the army. I don't know if a lot of people don't realize that when you're in the army, most of the democratic right, you do have no right.
But an army is not a political system. Democracy is a political philosophy. The army is about chain of command.
Yeah.
So when you elect somebody like that to be in charge of your security force, or your security of the country, with that type of mindset, what do you think is going to happen? The advice that is going to give the government, you know, is about controlling people.
Well, it's always about controlling people, but it is about it's the heart. If you're saying the army don't produce people with heart, because you don't need heart in army, you just need a good pair of ears. Hear the command and obey.
The army, when it's time, the army, man, you go there to take command, man.
Yeah.
So you don't
take orders.
You don't care how intelligent you are in the army, you know.
You don't take orders.
You can't question the decision what the officers make, you know.
It's about chain of command. So that's an interesting point you're making. Can someone who has been schooled in that way of thinking really be a part of policing? And policing is about engagement with citizens and tolerance for differing viewpoints that may not sit well with their agenda.
My lady, I tell you something like talking of my lady, because that is it.
Yeah.
So you can't. So you have to get. The sooner we get rid of this man and get somebody about, because he's the one that is pushing the state of emergency, you know. He's the one that the government is taking other solution from.
Yeah.
And because I hear a senator come out and talk about people that have given 40 years of service and security service to the country, that type of thing. This man had known nothing about security besides the way he was trained in the army. He spent a part of his adult life in the army.
Well, let us hope that somebody is listening and understands that these are not just talking points. These what you're saying
are action points.
Yeah, action points. All right, it's 9 o'clock.
Thank you for calling.
All right,
we have to take our station break. Thank you.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
That's FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already Pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in.
Or a better choice in all your electrical supplies. A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
There will be days when you're too tired to move, to drive, but you think you have to because your vehicle won't wash itself, right? But no, you don't have to visit a car wash. 123 Mobile Car Wash will come straight to you. Yes, you heard right. 123 Mobile Car Wash is offering services in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine. We shampoo and detail cars, trucks, offices, and more. No job too small. Call us at 876-631-3400. 123 Mobile Car Wash. We come to you. Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Lady the Queen of the South, and I'm inviting you all to trailblaze with me on the best of the best radio station, the Best 100 FM, Mondays through Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. You can't afford to miss it on your airwaves. Yes, trailblaze with Lady Lee right here, Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on the best of the best, Best 100 FM. Yeah.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere you can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
It's the season of giving, and the SOS Children's Village is proudly celebrating 50 years in Jamaica. Yes, that's 50 strong years of relentless support to our nation's children. Do you have a heart to care for the less fortunate? Help us to continue to provide a safe home for the children. Donate to a worthy cause. Donate through our website at www.sos-jamaica.org or call us at 979-5850. That's 979-5850.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning. Welcome. Good morning.
Hello. Continuing the out of the gleaner, people's response to the
issue.
PNP playing politics with Jamaican safety. So, Mr. PM, as we had the grand crime plan, you always blame the opposition when you go in to hold your ministers accountable.
Good morning and welcome.
Can I speak to Miss Minette, please?
You are speaking to Miss Minette and Pastor Percy.
Good morning, Miss Minette, and good morning, Pastor Percy.
How are you this morning, my dear lady?
I'm not too bad, please.
I'm glad to hear that.
The reason why I'm calling, I'm asking what happened to Mr. Small. I miss him to my heart.
Oh.
Small.
Oh. You know, I heard
Mr. Small to my heart.
Oh.
It makes my day.
Ah. Well.
So I would like to know what's going on, please.
Wow.
Well, I heard Mr. Small explaining it on another program on the same radio station here. He was a guest, or he was just speaking and explaining that there's some discussion underway concerning a different time slot. But I don't remember precisely what he said, but keep your ears tuned. And you know what? Sometimes it's good to know that you miss someone. So I'm sure when you hear him again, you will show him a lot more love.
True.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. I want to just share this before you pull together your. Okay, there's another call. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning to you both, to the team, station, and the listeners.
Yes, man. Go ahead, Jigsaw.
Here I am, challenging you from Miranda.
You want to be Mirandized?
No. From the veranda.
Oh, the veranda. I thought you said you want to challenge me. Miranda. Go ahead, man.
I can go on the back porch to have a choice.
Go ahead.
As long as it's not a cabinet.
Britain does have a constitution. The only challenge is it's not written like the Jamaican constitution. All right? And I'm a student of the British Constitution.
No, I know that it's not a written constitution. That's why I disregard it as compared to ours.
Yeah, I know, but if you compare the practices on convention,
yes,
80 to 90% of it is in the Jamaican Constitution, you know. It's just...
I wasn't making a comparison between Britain and Jamaica. We were talking, I was not making a comparison between Britain and Jamaica and the protocols as practiced by the parliamentarians.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that you're making that.
Oh, so you're making a point. Make your point. Go ahead and make your point.
I'm not saying it generally. So, those of us who listen and think about it to have a keen understanding, because that was an excellent brief you gave us this morning regarding the state of emergency and how it comes about and who said the what, right? And the clauses are there.
Right. So let me emphasize something for you. When constitutional cases are brought before the court, it matters greatly if the court is interpreting a written clause in the Constitution as opposed to analyzing how certain conventions and practices are applied in a country that does not have a written constitution. So, right. So when we speak about whether or not a pre-charge order, a pre-charge detention order would be against the Constitution of Jamaica, we're talking about our constitutional court looking at the precise language of the clauses that protect certain rights and testing the pre-charge detention order against those. So when you say something is practiced in Britain, but Britain does not have a clause that you can compare word for word, what you would be looking at is a set of conventions and how cases are done. It's a whole different, right. Similarly, if the United States, which has a written constitution, if they have put in place some kind of pre-charge detention system, then you can test it against the language of their clause in their constitution and make a comparison as to whether or not what Jamaica has done can be determined in light of decisions out of the American courts. Bearing in mind that decisions of the American courts are not binding on the Jamaican courts. They are persuasive only, meaning you can look at them, but you can disregard them. Whereas decisions coming out of the United Kingdom's Privy Council, those are binding on Jamaica, so you would have to follow them. But you can't follow something strictly that does not have an equivalent meaning in your own law. So that's why I made the point that Britain does not have a constitution. You can't compare the two without having the same parameters.
I wasn't thinking to do that. I was just on the phrase you use about not having
a constitution.
But what we need to be aware of next,
yes,
is the provisions for disaster. How the government can bring about whatever they need to do when you have, broadly speaking, a national disaster.
Right, but remember now that our Constitution has two different definitions. It defines public disaster and it defines public emergency. This is not, violence is not a public disaster. Violence is not a public disaster, even though...
No, I'm not saying that it is.
All right. Say it so I know what...
As you speak,
yes,
need to be aware of it. But I make them aware of what you said this morning.
Yes.
In agreement with you.
You want the whole little bit come down.
Yes.
We might have another
pandemic, and it's called violence. Right. Okay, good.
So we need to understand it.
Yes.
And this is why what I'm saying is, this is why there's a lack of compliance, because
yeah, man, we're here.
We're here now.
The general public or the citizens don't quite know or appreciate
what is in
what's going on.
Yeah.
And they get involved in things and they cry foul afterwards.
Right.
Right? If you can shed enough tears, but that time it'll be too late.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
yes,
true.
and some things you can't undo.
No. Yeah.
Yes.
And then again, that brings me back to my long cry. Can we have little sessions on
Civics in school.
Find me a sponsor, man. Find me somebody who will pay for the time.
Okay. I think I have a listing just to contact.
All right.
Some person.
Well, that would
great.
That would help.
I need to know what the parameters are.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
I will gladly do that.
Okay.
All right.
I'll see if I can see some of that.
All right.
Of course, the next month, and we kick out January strong.
That would be good.
That's great.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Good.
All right, Jigsaw, thank you.
Because I get a lot of diverse ones.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Take care too. Yeah. Thank you. A good point you made there. Good morning and welcome.
Fine again, love and bless.
Yes, Africa.
Mm-hmm. The PSOJ man there. Do you know what the Constitution do?
I should think so. If you're at that high, you need to know what the Constitution says. If you're going to comment on something.
Well, it look like him have him look like him misguided about the Constitution, you know.
Well, could be so.
I hope him look on the Constitution and see where I go on. Because him look like him a play a big role in the thing, you know.
Okay. So you want him to play a more...
news and them thing there, you know.
You want him to play informed. You want to speak from a position of knowledge. And he's informed. So when he's not speaking out of turn, but he's speaking according to the facts.
That's what I say, King.
Yeah.
I think him should get some knowledge of the thing, brethren. Because him sound like now him half of the thing, you know, like him and the public, you know, so. And you can't get against the public, brethren. So I say the citizens, you can't get against the citizens of Jamaica and kill them poor or them rich.
True.
Well, you know, at some point, everybody remembers that it is the citizens' patronage of their business that gives them the wealth that they enjoy. I mean, citizens need to remember, too, that we have the power to withdraw or support or set the terms on which we want to go forward. Many times we all forget that there's power in the hands of the people if we can organize it and move as one. So, yes.
Me not like with more organized, you know, Miss Minetti.
All of us, my brother.
Because these things, you know, say enough to do that something there and you're going to do it. It's supposed to have a repercussion, you know, Miss Minetti.
It should.
Should, my brother. Agree with you.
And the truth is, it does have a repercussion, but in the wisdom of God, these things don't happen immediately because He is merciful and gracious, and He allows people time to repent. But if you and I want to move things, then we have to get together and put the weight of our voice and our decision making behind it. That will always bring about some level of change when people come together.
Because this is the law we are dealing with, you know.
Yeah.
And it governs the whole of we, you know, Miss Minetti.
And it is a framework that we operate within.
That's the covenant.
It's a covenant between us and everybody. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yes, you saw me I say now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you as a man will operate an organization like that. And you come out and I say, yeah man, PNP, go on, go sign this up. If you not sign it, when it's against it, sound is against.
Yeah.
It not sound good enough, Miss Minetti.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
I hope the father deal with them and if I'm looking more, speed up a little time, you know?
Yes, well.
All right then. True.
It's good to be here. Yeah,
All right,
okay,
my
then.
brother. Thank you. I got to thank Earl Brown for sending us some information here. He's fresh out of Nairobi, Kenya.
Good
And
morning,
shared with
caller.
us.
There's
a caller on the line.
Yes.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, Neville.
Yeah, good morning to the world.
Hi, I love
The
it.
foreigners living in the diaspora, I see.
Yes.
About 4 of them called me over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, them say, Best FM. See the station named Best FM?
Yes.
Best FM need a telethon, yeah?
And they will give generously in the telethon?
Miss Minute.
Yes.
I'll tell you something about Never Caught, I see.
Mm-hmm.
I go to one school named Whitfield Town All-Age School. Down at Kingston 13.
Yes.
I know where it is.
Yeah, down at the west. Down at the most rigid part of the belly of the beast. I'm going to get a scholarship and go to Jamaica College, you see? Hello?
Yes, man, we're hearing you.
And then I go Charlotte College. And then I go Exed Community College. I'm left Exed, I'm going to work with government. For 16 years, I work with government.
Mm-hmm.
I have a place named Statistical Institute.
Okay.
You see, most of them statistics that we hear the government has spit out and down.
Mm-hmm.
Them wrong. It's just a segment of the society they're measuring. You remember when the Prime Minister come out in a COVID and said non-essential business?
Mm-hmm.
You know why they use that term non-essential? It's that the Prime Minister's word in it coming out of the World Economic Forum. Any institution that exists that the government can do without that not paying the sufficient weight of tax, they will be removed from your environment by 2030. You get that? And the people will have nothing and be happy. You know that?
Well, actually, at the local level, there are domestic legislation that defines what are essential services. And anything that not in that category of essential services clearly are non-essential.
No, look here, Miss Minute. The word economy is how we relate to one another and how we distribute the wealth. The Prime Minister has no prerogative and is out of order to call entrepreneurs business non-essential. He's out of order. And when you see in our country where your corporations like JMB boss and the Grace Kennedy boss and all of these big wigs, so-called big wigs, telling the government and the opposition to sign off on the future of the Jamaican people. They tell you that the Jamaican people vote do have no talk in the system now. This is a club. They are running Jamaica like they're running their private club, and they are not members of it.
But do you agree with me, Neville, that a man can talk? What was it in the Bible? You can't speak. A man who is putting on his armor can't speak like one who is taking it off.
That's true.
So a man can speak before the war and say whatever he wants, but shouldn't people wake up and take the decisions that are in their best interest?
Listen, there was a time like this when Jesus was passing through a city.
Mm-hmm.
And the city was having all of these problems and more. And you hear what Jesus said to the people? Go study the way of the ants.
Okay.
And that Jesus tell them, go study the ants, you people. You see, I die-hearted PNP. I grew up in a trench town, Garnet Garden jungle from the 11-year-old. And when I go down there, I see one whole heap of gunman in a scheme named Angola. And shot fire between Jungle Man and Rima Man and Tivoli Man. And I 11 them times, I know me 58. And up to last night, guns are back in a jungle. 47 years later.
Nothing new.
Look here, you see these two political parties? They need to flush in the toilet like how you flush noodle.
All right. Never.
No, I'm not using any that you don't understand.
Never.
I'm using cliché.
He needs to tone it down.
No, but what I'm saying, okay, never. You are not into them. So what are you putting on the table for us
Let
to
me
do?
put on something on the table about Press FM now.
Yeah, but before you go forward, before you go forward, Neville, I want you to understand that a conversation with me requires use of language that I can share. I am
What does do mean this minute? What does do mean?
No, I'm saying you won't have.
What does do mean? What does do? The word do in the dictionary. What does
No,
it mean?
no, we're not talking about the word that you use. What I'm saying to you is that if you and I are conversing, you and I need to speak. My preference, you and I need to speak in the same way. So I wouldn't be telling you that anybody is to be flushed in the toilet like waste matter or what you flush in the toilet. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I hear you say a while ago that you need sponsors for certain elements of the show.
No, I didn't say I need sponsors for certain elements of the show. Jigsaw, the caller said he wants a certain program on, and I said you need a sponsor.
Then look here, 4 members of the diaspora called me over the weekend. We don't even know them. And them say, SSM need a teleton, and the teleton must reach out to all the Jamaicans from Antarctica to Alaska. From Miguel Point to Moran Point is about 8 million away. And we need to get Jerry Floyd back on this radio station.
Maybe they could.
My brother, tone it down, please. Tone it down, please. Just tone it down, my brother. You don't need to behave that way. Let us just be peaceful and speak in a peaceful way, please.
Especially when speaking to Miss Minette.
You see the earth that people hurting in Jamaica right now. It's just because they don't understand the lies that they have been told over the years and the market like when things that occur. The repercussion that it would have in 2022 now, you know. They never understand it, you know, and now it's revealing itself and everybody.
Yeah, but my brother, it doesn't justify your coming and shouting and behaving this way. We're saying to you, we can speak. Yeah, but Neville, hear me now. Hear me, my brother. If we can't deal with it peacefully now, we're going to cut it. I'm telling you.
I am not in any war with anybody. I'm just telling you the message that I get to diaspora in England. One of them called me from Canada and tell me that never. The message that we get in Canada here, we want to come back to Jamaica. And Best FM has been paving a way to tell us what navigate the way. And we cannot alter the journey in 2022 because we have enough subscribers online, of which I am one of them. Who can sponsor Best FM, show that we can pump in at least $8 million a year into the program so that the presenters can get a livable wage out of it. And
yes, but
to the Jamaican people.
Okay, Neville, let me make one thing clear because many persons call and say what happened to Jerry. Jerry is not. There's nothing to do with the ability to pay Jerry why you're not hearing him. I can say that because I have been told that specifically. So callers who say we can put money into the radio station to pay Jerry are inflaming a situation by suggesting that the company could not pay him, that the radio station could not pay him. That's why he's not on air. That's disrespectful to the management and the leadership of the radio station.
You hear a 76-year-old lady from England call me and tell me that imagine we have this program going and you didn't get a fulsome report from the manager of SSM to tell the world what is happening with the program and where they're taking it from there so that they can readjust their mindset.
I love it. I love it that people are concerned and feel that they can press and advocate for answers. That's the kind of advocacy that we want to see being applied in the public sector where you're actually entitled to information. There's no entitlement to any listener. Your patronage is appreciated because if you don't listen, we wouldn't know if we're having an impact. But there is no obligation on anyone to make any statement except for goodwill. I tried.
Let me ask you this now. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Every year I spend $30,000 for my telephone bill. I write down every day how much money I spend, and I spend up to today, I just buy $1,000 worth of credit.
Mm-hmm.
And all the sacrifice that I have been making to talk to people, all the sacrifice that the radio station has made, we're going to abandon the journey.
No, we're not abandoning the journey. But when you make a strident appeal for one person, you're giving the impression that if that one person were to die, the cause would end.
It's not the person I'm dealing with.
You're talking about Jerry's show. You're saying
It's our show. It's not Jerry's show. It's our show. It's not show.
all right,
And
sir.
the Carla show.
We have,
Jerry's show.
all right, we have another caller on the line, and so I gotta go.
They don't understand it.
All right, we're going to talk about it another time because we do have someone else. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Blessed pastor. And your highness, how are you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Why, I'm fighting the fight to you, my dear. You're full this morning, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, tell
It's
you.
always full, but we listen. I tell
But we have
people
to give thanks to the variety, but as you rightfully say, which I endorse, that we use a language to communicate.
Yeah.
And once you use it out of the context, the people are going to always get the wrong idea.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
So if
yeah.
we talk English, we talk English. If we talk Patois, we talk Patois. If we talk both of them, then we try to understand between both of them.
But we
It's
might
a
lose
means
some
of
people.
communication.
Yes, it is. It is.
So we can't ignore the fact that there are people out there who will say, boy, that sounds kind of distasteful.
Yes.
We could approach it in a different manner.
Well, personally, I found it distasteful.
That's how we learn the language.
Yes.
It gives you the opportunity to express yourself in a variety of ways in a whole entire different manner too. Because I can make one statement with 5 words and just put a comma and it change the entire
And it changed the meaning.
change it. That's the point. So
Yes.
we have to watch how we talk, especially the English language.
Yes, yes.
And what I call about it.
Yes.
Sorry.
No,
Right?
man, go ahead. I like what you're saying. Thank you for weighing
What
in
I
on that. Yeah.
What I call it about is to address things that we are ignoring. That the police force and army were formerly called militias.
Yes.
And they were set up to deal with backwards personal issues in the slave master relationship. I'm not trying to condemn nobody or condemn our system or nothing. I'm just trying to call out you can't ignore your history.
Right.
If you ignore your history, we continue repeating it
The same
over and over
yes.
in maybe a new form way. And for example, what we used to call mulattoes and house slaves, maybe just what they call now politicians and government officials.
Yes.
And what they used to call field slaves, they just call them taxpayers now. All I'm simply saying is that we have to be cognizant of the past. Can't ignore it so we can set the future in a better context. Now, if we're coming from a situation like that where we know it is Baka who controls the militias to deal with the house slave uprising or whatsoever else you want to execute on the people, we have to now move into a system that the Prime Minister now, because this is a new system, the Prime Minister...
Brother, just hold the call upon the break. Just hold it, all right? I will come back from the break.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, 100.1, 100.3, 100.5, 7 and 9. Hey, yeah.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in.
Yes, indeed, it's redemption time with Apostle Clive Campbell, presenting a life-changing, life-challenging message to encourage, inspire, and motivate you towards your destiny. Every Tuesday night from 9:30 p.m. until 12:30 a.m. and on Saturday from 9 o'clock until 10, right here on Best 100 FM. It's redemption time.
It's the season of giving, and the SOS Children's Village is proudly celebrating 50 years in Jamaica. Yes, that's 50 strong years of relentless support to our nation's children. Do you have a heart to care for the less fortunate? Help us to continue to provide a safe home for the children. Donate to a worthy cause. Donate through our website at www.sos-jamaica.org or call us at 979-5850. That's 979-5850. Hey,
what's up? It's your girl, Legally, the queen of the South, and I'm inviting you all to trailblaze with me on the best of the best radio station, the Best 100 FM, Mondays through Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. You can't afford to miss it on your airwaves. Yes, Trailblaze with Lady Lee right here, Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on the best of the best, Best 100 FM. Yeah.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Come back, caller. Thank you for holding. Go ahead. We're making some very important points. Yeah.
What we need to do is something similar like the army. We need to remove the appointment of a commissioner of police by the Prime Minister, who is ratified by the Governor General. So we need the commissioner of police be elected by the people. So they put forward 3 commissioners who have the potential to be commissioners, and the nation, when electing the member of parliament and all whosoever else, including the office of the Prime Minister, elect the commissioner of police. Just in the same manner, elect the army representative, who we put 3 forward. So you keep all what we're talking about, the issues we're having with the conflict and the emanating of what should be done and must be done, because it will now give them no question in the sense that the people is the one they are accountable to. Even though the PM is outrang them, so to speak.
Yes.
But if he's found wanting, he can be locked up like anybody else.
Yes.
That's the point. But he can't do that.
I rather like what you're saying, because I have made similar points about even how we choose the commissioners for the Integrity Commission, because they are like the super watchdog and should not be so, I'm going to say, they should really be operating independently of the bodies and the individuals whose integrity they oversee. And you're making a similar point. There are some things which the people should have a say in the selection of those individuals. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And also, it would be good for the nation to have to learn, what am I looking for in the character of these leaders? What is the experience they should have?
It will force the nation to grow up. Force the nation to properly elect.
Absolutely. And it would change the narrative of campaign and political debates, because now persons would have to show themselves to be fit. They would have to look at issues that can appeal to the national sentiment. They would have to disclose their manifesto, their agenda. We'd have to know what's in the heart. Who are they? I long to see that happen in my country.
The party can tell you all that while they're campaigning now. But you see the big issue that the people don't necessarily want the party leader.
Yes. Well, you know.
And the truth of it, I think we should eliminate partisan politics. That is what keeps this nation divided.
Yeah, well, that's why
serves their better purposes.
That's why there are so many Republicans among us now. People seeking to bring a republic into being, where we are not bound by the party structure, the narrow confines of the bipartisan, our tribe, whatever, however many parties we get, but where we can look at individuals, look at the real issues, and choose a leader based on things outside of just, what the delegates in a political party say.
But there's still a problem in the sense that, as you know, for instance now, in St. Catherine or St. Andrew,
yes,
the control of votes are by both parties. So even if you move what you call and put it into a republic, they are still friends, and they are gonna still work together.
Well, listen.
So my thing is that I don't see why we keep adapting foreign, we call governance style.
whether it was in Asia, Persia, wherever, it worked for them. And good. And it worked because their culture is in from us. We have a totally different culture than maybe the entire world. We're like an entrepreneurial nation.
So we understand that the form of government and how we choose people need to come from us. And there's a it needs to, but then there's a level of consultation and teaching of principles and having debate and discourse that can allow persons to. So yes, okay, that's my view.
Because you have already to right, left, center are standstill because you understand the concept.
Yes,
yeah. Once you understand the concept, that don't mean that we have to follow any particular we call race or nature.
Yeah, you don't need to just pick up wholesale what somebody else has done. And the thing about democracy too, is that democracy lends itself to exactly that because it's based on consultation and knowledge.
And that opens the door, my friend, to look at different ways of how we do democracy. Because some people have proportional representation, that kind of a thing. So I'm in agreement with that.
The institutions of democracy can be customized to meet what Jamaica requires.
Yeah.
All right, my brother, love talking to you, but we do have another call and we're winding down. We're past the... Yes, have a good day. Thank you. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, Miss Minute. Morning, Pastor. Morning, Jamaica. Morning, Mr. Lawrence. Morning, Life. Blessings.
Blessing. They're all waving to you.
Yeah. I heard somebody saying that Jamaica have the power to speak. Jamaica speak already, and shut down our business, Can I drag you, give you the memory?
Go on, listen. Which one? Apartheid?
There was Cash Plus.
Oh?
And the person who caused it to crash at a bank, and they had some outlet called Super Plus. And the people speak.
Okay.
You remember?
Well, when I said I remember what I don't remember it the way you're recounting it, because when I said that the people can't speak, I didn't mean the same people who speak from the high levels, because when you say
it wasn't. Listen, it wasn't people from the high levels speaking.
Okay, but when you say
it was a common man speak. The supermarket after
okay. No, what I heard was Cash Plus. So I thought Cash Plus. You were saying Cash Plus went down because the people spoke.
And the people spoke after Cash Plus went down. The man who caused it to went down, they have some outlets called Super Plus.
So the Cash took the Super.
And the people them make it when they go in their pound of sugar, they were striving and driving so till them couldn't strive no more. And when the people them see what happen and them get the depths of what happen, the man come out and talk. Reasons was him give 10% and that man give 7% every year. Then so that can't work. Okay. I'm not going at the depths.
Yes. But do you know, I didn't make that link between the closure of Super Plus and Cash Plus.
Me and you will sit down and talk about that.
Obviously.
You have a laugh.
I did not make that link.
Yeah, man, that link is so it go.
So all right, people have voice.
But Miss Minute, it's so funny, that Cash Plus is around for a long time with the big man that make their money.
Yes.
With a big man make their money,
Yep. So I heard.
Miss Minute. If you know somebody who you can recommend with good recommendation, guys, that's secret. You recommend that person and the person come in. It was 50,000 they were given at the time.
Oh, you got a commission?
Yeah, man, you get a something, so.
Okay.
No, you didn't get. No, you don't get the commission,
Oh.
You introduce the person and you get a snipe. Yeah, there's a snipe. Yeah,
commission.
But it was amongst the elite, the big people.
Yes.
And when them make enough money now and them are pull out, the man say, well, if since you pull out, now call in the little people them for God, this thing is a long time around, Miss Minute. It was around years and they make their money. And when the problem was, if you, how much percent I will give them? Him say, I'll give them 10%. They then put in 50,000 or 5%. They then put 10,000. And they put in 100,000 at 10%.
Okay.
And I said, no, you can't do that. That's something I tell you. My brother, Rodster, I'm not really want it. Yeah, but anyway.
All right, but it was real, it happened, and the people spoke, you're saying.
And people spoke. That is what I tell you.
Yes. And
so the people have
right.
power.
Yeah.
And when you're going to when you're going to Super Plus, I 2 pounds of sugar that's left on the shelf. And the people them crash them.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to come out of business.
It's true.
Pastor.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
I need to speak to your pastor.
You don't have the number, man? Or may I forget a new number for you?
No, you have my number. You have my number.
Okay.
You have my number. And when I finish, pastor, I need to speak to your pastor.
All right, we'll do. All right, my brother.
Miss Minette.
Yes, sir.
You didn't get to the OUI.
No, sir, I've not spoken to them. Was I supposed to?
Yeah, what's the call out?
Yeah, you told me on the other day that you was going to call the OUI.
Ah,
Hold on a minute.
I forgot.
Brother G. Yeah, we book for 10 o'clock.
We'll call you back. We move. All right, 40.
No. I was somebody, I booked for 10 o'clock.
Okay.
I have a meeting 10 o'clock. So,
all right, I forgot, so I'll follow up with them on your thing. Yes.
You told me that you would get in touch with the OUI.
I forgot, my dear. Did not even remember saying that.
Yeah, it's quite good. I swear, too much on the mind.
Yes.
But you see what I have to say to you, Pastor, today? It's Mr. Lawrence and Miss Minute will understand what I'm going to say to you.
Okay.
Pastor, you need to call me, Pastor.
I'll remind him after the show.
Yeah, Miss Minute, do. After the show, just say, Pastor.
Yes.
I'm going to give like my numbers them again, yeah?
All right. Okay. Thank you, brother. Take care.
Don't remind I'm not hanging up, you know?
Don't hang up. Yeah. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Pastor Percy,
Good morning.
yeah, man. All going. Give thanks and praise, innit?
Morning. And say hello to Minette, to the beautiful Minette.
Yes, man. Wonderful work on that, you know?
All right.
Thank
you. Yeah, Miss Minette, let me tell you now. Here's something on the radio look well. Like, me hear somebody say, like, the radio station can't afford to pay a jury. Somebody call and say that?
Well, he didn't. He implied it when he said that there are some diaspora people who will contribute money to allow the station to pay.
Okay, but I think that's a problem.
That is not the problem, and I was seeking to clarify that.
Yeah, I want to say, the people them were really like them, I wonder what happened. That means that them couldn't listen to the program then, and couldn't listen to Jerry, and I wonder why.
You were the one you said it to us last week.
Yeah, they couldn't listen to the program, and I wonder why. Because me not wonder what me said, because I'm expecting people and just
in the break, I was saying I can understand people are asking, maybe they're asking, but listen, there's nothing to be said that would be complimentary or very uplifting to anybody on this issue. I've tried to get a statement, and there is really nothing to be said that wouldn't be trespassing on other people's private information, if I may put it that way. Yeah.
Them people calling and put you under pressure for your action.
Let me tell you, man, it's a good thing I'm made of stern stuff.
That's what I'm telling you what you're saying. Why, it's a hard work you're doing, and kind of easy work for the radio station, and you have to think what it say, and how you're going to say it.
And you're on air.
If you're right, you're going to do before you come back.
No.
And one more thing, I'm going to come down to close time.
Thank you, yes.
The people them were like them look to the government and allow them. I remember saying, I am not a Labour and a PMP because I never voted, I'm a party chief. But me say, Bruce Golding, and do something already, we really have to come in for them to speech and make when him coming with the person of interest in the same time.
Yes.
And he say again, saying everyone now to reach out, no one now go poor. I think that it's the speech that a president could ever make.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
It's just that them should have just bring it out, but them never bring it out. You understand what I mean? I say, so it's simple. You don't know why the people must do. But as I said, I got me in a story about sure, but the people need to wake up, man. Stop worrying about Prime Minister to do this and do that. Because them don't want to do it. Them can and them don't want to do it. It's like a simple road man on the street, know that.
So, you know, there are two things happening. Leaders must behave right and they're to be held to account. But at the same time, you are so right about what we do amongst ourselves. You know, there is scripture that says, when God says, when I bring judgment, I am going to chastise all of the fat ones in the herd because you trampled and muddied up the field and dirty up the water, preventing your neighbor from living well and doing well. So we amongst ourselves may be thinking, oh, the leader's not doing their job, so it's a free-for-all out here. It's not a free-for-all. We are supposed to find the solution amongst ourselves when the leaders disappoint us. So nobody gets a pass.
Yeah, true.
All right, I just wanted to emphasize that. Yes.
All right,
thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
That's it. Wow.
It has been a morning. I got to say thank you to the listeners and the callers and those online who have been
Kenya
encouraging us, Nairobi.
Yes.
It's a difficult time, and all of us have to look to see what we can do to participate in being a part of the solution, being a part of the change. Yes, we have to hold our leaders accountable. We call on them for that because that is a part of what you do to keep your environment healthy. And the leaders are out of us. They are our brothers and sisters and husbands and wives, and they are our family. So we don't want to see them perish, or we don't want to see them making a mistake and nobody say, hey, cool it, check yourself, or whatever it is you need to say. So we do that. But at the same time, please be reminded, when you out here in the herd, looking and seeing there's no leadership, amongst yourselves, do right by each other.
That's all we're calling people to do. Because as you close on that point, Minette, we often say it. And people might be saying, why them keep saying it? Because that is the crux of the matter. Change the way that you relate to your brother man and your brother sister.
Your sister woman.
Yes, whichever one. Because that comes out of respect for the Almighty and fear of Him. And that is the beginning of all wisdom. We want wisdom in this country. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And He says, do unto your brother as you would want them to do unto you, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thanking Earl. I got to say, Earl shared some information. 43 nightclubs in Nairobi, the government shut them down because of noise pollution. Just sharing with us that elsewhere, people come up against the same thing, and the municipal authorities do what they are supposed to do. Some of them not even have permit. They're not operators. They're doing house parties or shop parties or whatever it is, and creating a problem. Law and order is still important.
Begins with the very top, right down to the bottom.
Yes.
And if you don't see it happening at the top, you can't expect it at the bottom. We have to move from a culture which says, do as I say, but don't do as I do. Yeah, do. That's it. We have
using the word do very often.
It is, yeah. But you know, I just need to say that we can disagree. We will disagree from time to time. But whatever we do, we must always respect each other. Let us do it respectfully. The fact that we shout and we use certain words don't necessarily mean that it we are right, we do it, or it gives us the right to do anything like that. Yeah?
Or the fact that there's a crisis.
Yes, I do understand that people will get passionate from time to time, but we have to control our language, control how we speak. And listen, sometimes we might not like it, but we must respect the offices that our leaders hold in this country. And we must be very careful about what we say, how we say it, and when we say it.
Well, you know that the honor you give is the honor you receive. So if when leaders are in office, we are treating them harshly, unjustly, disrespectfully, just know that in your place of leadership, you will get the same treatment and you're not going to like it. Such is the even-handedness of the God we serve. So I try to make sure that as we are speaking on the issues, we use language and we maintain a level of sobriety that when we are under criticism or when we are being held accountable, we can expect the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Jamaican say, same knife for stick goat, stick sheep. Walk
well,
goat.
that sounds like violence.
That's what you say.
All
Just
right.
a
But have a
reminder.
good day, everyone. And you know what? God willing, we'll be here again tomorrow.